Welcome back to another Brew Spy, the Magic Guy. I'm your host, Sean, and we're going to be taking you guys through a journey to the center of the wilderness reclamation. So, what is this deck? What is it doing? Um, is this thing actually something you can do in Modern? The answer is yes. We played it for the very first time, and I wouldn't even kid myself and say that I played it well, but we played it reasonably, and we ended up really rewarded. We went 4-1 the first time I played the deck. We made some tweaks. The original deck builder of the deck, Ftzz, came in and helped us tweak the list a little bit. We've added a little bit of Nile's Spellbomb. We've added some explosives, some damnations. Those are some things that I felt the deck struggled with a little bit, but I'm very curious about this deck. I'm very curious about this archetype. I think this is sweet. I think there's definitely something to be said. Hey, what's up, Puddin' Stars? Anyway, let's get into the game. Glad you guys are here. It's a snow day for me, so we got to go home a little bit earlier from work than usual. So I figured I'd squeeze in a stream. I do have plans tonight, but I figured, what the heck, I'll give you guys another stream. This is day 14 of our 365 now. I'm not trying to do, because I can't, just my schedule doesn't allow for it, a every single day 365. So it's a little bit different of a 365. I'm sure I wanted to answer that question the other day and I didn't do so. Basically, it's a every day that I stream at least, an amount of time worthy of relegating a stream, like 1 to 2 hours or more. I think anything less than that, it doesn't really count. We can add that to that clock, to that number. So it may take us 2 years, the rate we're going, just because I'm trying to get acclimated to my new living space, this and that. Master Neo. Sam's really hoping that they're not a super fast deck, which they are. How unfortunate. We may just be dead. Does our game get better against Amulet post board? This is a good question. No, this is a tutor target, that's why. It's a good question though, Drake. Why would you ever play Consume the Meek in Modern? It has to do with these. Search your library for an instant card or card with flash. Zuza, and we're doing all sorts of Nutter Butters things over there. At least the opponent plays their Amulet deck relatively well. We can't even kill the Azusa. I don't necessarily want them to know we have green. Like, if we're just dead here, I wouldn't want them to see. Next turn, we could Simic Charm the Titan. But, between the Bounce Lands and Talaria West, they have a lot of redundancy, right? 4 Titans. You have to go through 4 Titans game 1. That's pretty much it. Like, the deck is designed to do such. You were going to say Ritual of Soot. I didn't see your comment earlier. No, my bad. There's also the Screams card. Ritual of Soot, I'm not familiar with off the top of my head. But there's like Hideous Screams or something. This is a sorcery, though. You would want to play, because you want it to be instant. There is Hideous Laughter, which maybe might be worth considering. I don't know. That's all creatures get -2/-2 as a tutorable instant. The problem is you're still probably better off with Consume the Meek. No, I'm with you, Drake. You were sent home from work too? Do, 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 do. Giving our opponent some sound effects. I think we're dead, guys. I think we died. Yeah, prime time. Get Vesuva. Vesuva copies the Boros Garrison. Seems good to me. Shadow's really good in this matchup. Obstructionist is interesting. It's probably going to be better than some of these other tools. Against combo, we don't need to be doing all that, right? We want Dispel. Maybe even Surgical if we can counter the first Titan, we can take him out. Is there anything else that strikes your fancy, guys, or anything else that seems on the weak side? Decay, of course, hits Amulet, so does Trophy. The Fatal Pushes seem weak. Obviously, they do kill Azusa, but so do some of these other cards. Spell Snare doesn't hit all that much in this matchup, actually. There are cards in their deck that it hits, but it's not all that great. Spell Bomb, guess we get to leave the pushes in. Do we want Damnations? What do we want? When do we want it? We could just run a counter spell. It doesn't need to be fancy. We could just run a counter spell. I like bringing in extra win conditions. I mean, maybe the Pulse Mirasa's worse than maybe Pulse is worse than like Blue Sun or Nexus. I think I'm supposed to keep this. It's a little awkward because it has the one of basic forest. We don't have to crack this forest necessarily, but it's kind of tempting to keep a Reclamation hand. Search for a Skanta. This is going to hurt a little bit. But we didn't know we were drawing a relevant play here. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to kill the Sakura Tribe Scout. What's up, Last God? How's it going, Jade? Latest likely to fail project. Some sort of modern miracles. Safe Sage of Epitaph. Isn't there also the 4-drop Brainstorm guy? I mean, there's also actual Jace. There is actual Jace. There we go. Hopefully that's indicative of a slowish hand. We won't be casting Cryptic even if I find another blue source here. I think it's too important that I hit the land drop. As strong as Shadow is in this matchup, or can be in this matchup, I think we do want to make sure we hit. So we slam Reclamation. Oof. Okay. Well, we might just be dead now. That's okay. It's not like there was something in their graveyard for me to surgical and check to see if we... I mean, it's not like we're sitting back on the Cryptic either. We drew both the basic... Like, we naturally drew both our non-blue basics, so we couldn't cast these Cryptics. Like, it wasn't as if we could sit back and try to sit on a Cryptic. Like, our line was either slam Reclamation, maybe win from there, or sit back on a Growth Spiral, like, both of which seem bad. Now, he doesn't have Amulet, so we're not toast immediately. Like, we have a moment to do things. That's really too bad, chat, that they had the, they're gonna grab a Cavern. Now, is it correct to surgical something like Summoners? Or, I mean, we're still probably just better off trying to find a kill spell for the Titan and then surgicaling, right? I imagine. Opponent has way too many green sources for me to Cryptic them out of paying for Pact. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they can easily... could easily get to Titan to cast another Titan. I mean, another counterspell. Whew. All right. Well, we got to win out. We're 1-2, unfortunately. We played, interestingly enough, this league we played against the same archetype, actually the same exact player, twice in a row, which is bizarre. I haven't seen that poor of matchmaking in a while, but then again, we were playing late into the night. So, there is that. But I do really like this archetype. I think this is probably the most fun I've had playing a control archetype in Modern in some time. And Evan was telling me that there are other color combinations we could explore. We could explore Bant. He also talked about there being a Tamir version that we could explore. I think a Bant version would be kind of neat. I think Bant could be a cool color combination. You get access to Settle. Obviously, Settle is a lot weaker when your opponents know about it, though. Like if you go tutor that up and then use it. But so there's that. But I think overall power level, I like Settle more than. I guess I keep it. It's a Search Riscante hand. And now they're just bringing the beats. Gosh, it's like we face all these like rampy decks, and now we're facing really super low to the ground. But can we contend? I'd assume we can. Yeah, like the Black Splash really just is for the teachings itself. Okay, so we could Assassin's Trophy the Swift Spear if I lead on Misty. I think that's probably correct. Obviously, if he doesn't play second land drop, then I'm not obligated to trophy the Swift Spear. But if opponent has second land drop anyway, I don't think it's too big of a deal to. If we can get to some of these, it's kind of the trick. If we can live long enough to do it. Yeah, last guy, to answer your question, my Tuesday's good. Like getting off work early a little bit was kind of a nice change of pace. How's your Tuesday going, last god? How you doing? The old pre-combat bolt. Light up the stage. Guess he was looking for gut shot. There's a Phoenix that's going to get permanently exiled. Unless he has looting. Right? Well, no, that's not how that works. Yeah, Phoenix is not what you want to hit on your light up the stage. So it's kind of nice that he hit basically a dud on this card. Oh yeah, I was brewing the other day. We were brewing for Legacy a light at the stage. What is the archetype? What is it called? I'll think of it. It was the green enchantment that's for Legacy. What was it? What was it? What was it, chat? It was food chain. It was like a Tamir colored food chain with Punishing Grove. I thought it was a neat idea, but maybe that's just me. We do want the breeding pool, so we have the basic swampy. Oh man, another cryptic. Whew! If we can live long enough, chat. Stayed home sick. Oh, that's the worst, last god. That's no fun. I'm sorry to hear that. Assassin's Trophy, awkward against Phoenix. It's not an exile, it's a destroy. So opponent might very well have more Phoenix in hand. Discards a Reveler. Metamorphose. Gosh, if we didn't have removal spell for this Swift Spear, we'd be taking a lot. Like, a lot. Be taking a lot of damage. Right? I mean, that would have been... We'd be at 3. We'd be in burn range. This is gone for good. Whew. I'm sorry to hear that, last god. That's no fun. You know what you're sick with? No, it wasn't a Lauren. Sorry. Sorry. It wasn't a Lauren. It was, that was a good guess. It was, Food Chain. It was Food Chain with, Light Up the Stage, because you have a bunch of creatures in the deck that can be cast from exile. So I thought that might be kind of neat. I mean, it was still a Brainstorm deck. I think it was Brainstorm, Ponder, and some Light Up the Stages. That's what we were doing. And it was green. He was like technically 4-color. It had Noble Hierarchs and like virtually no white cards. Noble Hierarch just for blue-green ramping. Oh, that's unfortunate. So opponent's rebuilding over there. Granted, we're about to have our Reclamation, so... We're about to reclaim. It's a greedy graveyard I just did, but look, we're hitting lands anyway. Alright, we finally stick this. It's been countered today. It's been this, it's been that. But we can like rewind into Cryptic. That's going to feel pretty good. But an opponent may be tempted to like Lava Spike us just because of Bedlam Reveler, which I'm hoping is the case. Like I probably rewind this, right? Because we have a glut of resources. We just don't necessarily have enough time to use them all. Untap, please. So we kind of need to make these Cryptics count. I'm not going to counter a Gut Shot, though. Okay, I think I've had enough, good sir. Counter tap. Think I've had enough. Search for Riscanta. Looking for Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster Trophy would be the ideal way we answer the Bedlam Reveler. Another Reclamation we probably have to graveyard. Misty the draw. I don't really want to take the pain. I don't really want to put us in bolt range, like bolt range. We may have to play it anyway. Like, the benefit of Misty Rainforest is I don't have to discard the next card to flip the Search for Riscanta, which I do believe we definitely need. Thank you so much for those bits, last god. I appreciate the 65 bits, my friend. Alright, so we're going to counter tap. So, counter tap. I mean, we're just trying to stay alive, chat. Nothing fancy. So, that's the detriment of not... ooh, Phoenix. But I wanted to counter the Lava Spike. So now we may be just screwed. I mean, sure, opponent's on top decks, but I guess like one of the few cards I wouldn't give up. Obviously, like a Time Walk, Blue Sun. Yes, we'd bin as well, right? Because it doesn't do enough, does it? Well, we could Blue Sun for X's too. I will graveyard that. I will flip this. Blue Sun. Okay, so I was talking about Blue Sun. So if we Blue Sun, even with fetching, how much would that be? 1, 2, 3. Like, and would I find double answer? Because it needs to be like Snapcaster, block the Bedlam, take out the Phoenix, but then we're just in bolt range because of the Misty. I think that's wrong. I mean, we could also Escanta and hope that we can't hit Snapcaster off Escanta. I mean, the perfect answer is probably going to be a 4-mana play, right? It's going to be a 4-mana play. So And we're going to have, if we don't use the Misty, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, we're going to have 12 mana to work with. 12 minus 3, 9. So we could draw 5 cards. Draw end step, draw 3, hope to draw Cryptic and some additional value. I mean, maybe I just need this Misty. Like, maybe the risk of dying to Bolt sure sucks, but we just need the extra mana more than protecting the life points. Because the extra mana is relevant for what we untap with, you know? Like, we might just have to perfect the rest of the match. I don't know if we can do that. I think that's a little bit of foresight. Bunch of blue mana. Guess I'll make a little green. Right. It's that close. So we want to leave open the swamp, the breeding, and then Skanta Island. But we'll also tap the flooded and the. We're gonna draw a bunch of cards. I mean, will it be enough? I have no idea. Should I just make some more blue? Well, no, we don't want to cut our options off. Hold up, on tap. So we're fine with this, right, chat? Colors look good. Right, blue, blue, blue. Because I'm assuming it's going to be a 4 mana answer, right? This is draw 5. The exception would be snap into Cryptic. But snap Assassin's Trophy works too. Okay, so we found Cryptic. So there you go. And sure, at the expense of not Mistying, but Metamorphose. Faithless Looting. Greedy, I know, but really don't want them to find more gas before we're able to do the combo. Soulscar Mage. Breeding Pool. Okay, so Tar Pit for sure. Teachings now. Well, actually, am I supposed to teachings now? Do I wait? What would the benefit of waiting? Because we need 6 mana for the play we want to do, which is Snap Cryptic, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Could also just take an additional turn, couldn't I? On Moto, it's weird though. Like when it does the untap, it goes immediately to my opponent's next turn, which. I mean, I guess that is technically how it is in paper as well, right? Do I not get priority there? I know we could teachings for Nexus, but like when we were playing the deck last night, Drybor, it wasn't letting us do that play. Like it wasn't letting us, for some reason, which doesn't make any sense because didn't we just float mana and then still do things before passing the turn back? Maybe I just accidentally hit a hotkey that I didn't mean to. Very possible. Yup as in what I said is true, or yup as in I made him like maybe misclick? Right, see that's what I thought too, Maximum. Which is weird, like yesterday didn't seem to be doing that. Like this should work. Alright, response, make some mana, untap. I mean, it's very possible I just didn't have the end step stop on, and I just thought that I did. Alright, so it's working. It's being happy. Not quite enough mana to do anything else behind this. Ideally, we don't pass the turn back to them until we've got a solid game plan. Yeah, but I don't even think 7 mana's explores all that bad at this moment, right? Like, we have other land drops we want to be making. Delta. So we could have Skanta, or we could just Teachings. I mean, what does it look like? Like, am I Teachings for Teachings and then Teachings into something else? So we're gonna have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. I wouldn't be able to Teachings into Nexus. I could Teachings into Snapcaster. I could Teachings into Snapcaster Cryptic. And then that seems solid. Because we're not dead to one burn spell off the top. We would be sad if he drew like another Reveler, I suppose, obviously, but they don't run the playset to my knowledge. Just grab Nexus again. Yeah, I think you want the Teachings into Teachings because you want the flashback. Like, we want to be able to keep chaining, which my build's a little greedy because I'm only on 2 copies of Teachings, so you can't really like chain them together at the end, which is where we're at. We're at the supposed end game. So yeah, we want the other Teachings, I imagine. We want a Teachings into Snapcaster. I think that's right. Oh no, Teachings for Teachings into Cryptic. Okay, we can't do it through the Snapcaster. We don't have enough mana for that play. You might very well be right. Let me do a little math here. Teachings into Teachings. Oop. Teachings into Teachings into. Yeah, we're shy. So yeah, we have to get the Cryptic this way. The 4th Cryptic command. But now we have a flashback Teachings to work with. We're doing okay on clock. We're even with the opponent. We're behind like 10 seconds. Clocks are pretty comparable. Timmy build's so much closer to lethal though. Well, because you have a bunch of bolts in there. That's fair, right? He's at a theoretical. You put all the lightning bolts together, right? You're looking at 12 damage. Opponent's at a virtual 4. That's just a couple of tar pit attacks. Yep. Oh yeah, I think the expansion explosion is sweet. So it looks like we're just tap drawing. Fatal push. I feel like you don't play your land if you're a looting deck, but that's just me. Nice, more lands that don't hurt us. Alright, Teachings, flashback. I mean, maybe we'll just kill off the Skull Scar Mage. What else am I going to do with this Fatal Push? I guess if I have Revolt, I could hit the Phoenix. So now we want Snapcaster, right? And we start chaining through that, or do we want Nexus? I think we want Snapcasters now. Rev is sweet too, though. See, Bant gets Sphinx's Rev. Now I'm returning the Snapcaster Mage though, right? I'm not drawing a card, right? Because we have so many cryptics to like this one Snapcaster. This one Snapcaster is gonna chain through a bunch. Or is that greedy? Because well, we have a remand, right? Well, if opponent's drawn a removal spell for the snap right here, and we go for cryptic bounce Snapcaster, we die because we can't. It won't still tap his team because it would technically fizzle. Your first brew was Sphinx's. I mean, I know we're targeting cryptic. I just don't know what modes I'm doing. Like, do we think he's actually drawn removal spell for the snap? Is it too important that I get the extra value here by reusing this Snapcaster Mage? Sanity grinding? I don't have quite enough mana yet, Drybore. I also would not want to remand a flashback cryptic. I'll respect it. I'll respect him having like a gut shot or something. Respect, guys. Respect. Oh god, we're just drawing all of the fetches. I mean, I'll put one in to play. I don't really want to use it. Not really. We're just dead because I didn't bounce the Snapcaster. Pulse of Marasa. So Snap could block the Reveler. We don't die to the Phoenix. Snapcaster dies, we get it back with the Pulse. I don't think this is over just yet, chat. So we'll start getting in with the Tar Pit. Does theoretically put us dead, though, to a burn spell, right? Because I might have to use the Pulse a little sooner than I want to, because I really want to use the Pulse when the Snapcaster's in the graveyard. So maybe this whole line is greedy. I should just Pulse now. Because don't I open us up to... I guess I could remand my own Pulse and use it again. Right? Plays Mountain. Okay. Oh, well, now we know he's got nothing. So yeah, so we snap block the Reveler. We take the hit from the Phoenix, but it doesn't kill us. Snaps in the graveyard where we kind of want him to be. We get to activate Escanta a little bit here, so I think we start to pull ahead a little bit. Let's Escanta first, though, just to see all the possibilities. There's the Nexus. We'll take Nexus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Almost any order. Pulse back. The Snapcaster. I mean, yeah, we could do some cutesy remanding of our own spells, for sure. It's not even necessarily a bad play. We actually could have cracked the Polluted Delta there. So let's go ahead and get that other fetch out there. So we know we're Nexusing. That's simple. I also want to do a Tar Pit hit. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just gonna grab these while I'm thinking about it. Yeah, so we can Nexus before we even do our untapping mana. Nexus. We get an untap. Actually, I should have searched for Escanta and then Nexused with this extra mana, to be perfectly honest. But I'm not trying to think too much. I just really want to get it done. Fatal Push, Sultai Charm, this and that. Sultai Charm, I guess. Green. Draw 2, discard. I mean, I guess that could kill the Bedlam Reveler, but I don't think that's what the game's about anymore. I think I just want to make sure I chain through the rest of our deck cleanly. So we can dump. We'll snap. Growth? I guess Snap Growth is fine. I guess I'm also tempted to remand my own Snap, though. I kind of think the Snapcaster has more value in my hand at this point. Yeah, exactly. The Tar Pit definitely makes those extra turns count. So what's our follow-up to this? Snap Cryptic? That's what it looks like. Snap Cryptic Escanta. We could Escanta here. We could also even just play another Escanta. Right? Second Escanta. Maybe that's greedy. But I mean, we're going to untap with all our mana. We already have the Snap answer. We're at 5 life, so... Also, I tapped my mana wrong there. Oops. I'm just trying to get through it, guys, because we got 12 minutes. We do have to win another game out of the next 2. Ooh, we whiffed. That's okay. Well, 2 of those were snaps, though. Our deck's mostly spells, though, so the only time, like, it's not uncommon for us to hit, like, a patch of land. It is uncommon for us to hit a patch of Snapcasters in land, I suppose. Yeah. That's okay. So he's at 7. We're putting the Snapcaster in. It's so close, chat. It's so close to being over. Oh, he just played out his land. Like, now I know I can do the Snap Bounce play. Because we have 3 Cryptics in the graveyard, so now that he's revealed to us that he's got nothing, we can just start bouncing the Snapcaster. Clock is the biggest reason to play Tamir. I could see that being a thing on Magic Online for sure. Because you do have a lot of Magic you have to play in a relatively short span of time. So, return, tap. And we get an Escanta trigger. I think the Escanta is bonkers in this deck. There's the Nexus. Maybe I was supposed to take the Blue Sun? Well, no, Nexus is lethal here. I should just put the Snapcaster back into play, actually. Because we're just looking to... attack. So I can put the Snapcaster into play before we take our extra turn, and then it's lethal because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's at 7. So we have a path to victory, chat. We did it. Because these remands feel so bad against these burn decks, but we got lucky. I mean, it's like turn 13, and opponent's only taken like 10 turns or something. I think they took... No. Tar Pit just works here. Like, that's another way to do it. Tar Pit, hit you with this Tar Pit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So hit you. Take an extra turn, hit you again. I mean, we're still putting the Snapcaster in just because it makes it even less of an issue. Or no, there's no need to put the Snap into play. We Nexus. I don't really want him to see the Spell Snare necessarily. I'm assuming, I mean, opponent could probably assume that we're on things like Spell Snare. Oh yeah, I think Explosion's sweet. I think there's merit, though, to playing the deck this way. Like, Purist, we're not trying to splash the black into, like, it's not a 4-color pile. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with 4-color pile in Modern. There's not really enough to punish it, right? It's basically just Blood Moon that really punishes the 4-color and more decks efficiently. So he did have several targets for the Echoing Decay. This also puts all of the Phoenixes back into the yard, and then we can get them with like a Surgical or a Spell Bomb. Dispel exchanges nicely here. Explosives is kind of awkward. Damnation would remove Bedlams, whereas the other sweepers we have can't. Like Consume actually doesn't line up well against their deck, awkwardly enough. Crypt Incursion strong. Uh, Pulse stays. I think Devour Flesh might be wrong. The Remands have to go. These are bad. These were really bad that game. Just not good enough. So I think we actually do want the Damnations. Problem with Rug is you can't control the board though. I appreciate you, Maximum, but like we're here to explore. I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh, Bug is the best color combination for this deck in Modern." Bruh. Like a lot of it has to do with teachings. Like between teachings and Wilderness, that leans the deck already towards Bug, but there are merits for going other colors. Like red, you get Bolt, Ancient Grudge out of the board. Like I don't know, Electrolyze. I don't know. There are reasons to red, and then red, of course, gets a more powerful X spell. But like we can win between Nexus and Blue Sun. Like we can do it convolutedly. Like we can piece it together. We can do it. We just did it. It just takes a while on Magic Online, which is definitely a knock to the deck. Do we cut these in the matchup? Well, there are things you can do to try to compensate for that. You could run like something janky like Evacuation. Just like Cryptic Tap, Cryptic Tap, Cryptic Tack, Evacuation. Like there are things you could do. I could see myself doing in a Tamir colored version of the deck that could get around some of those shortcomings. We'd have to get a little bit creative, but I think that we could. Maybe I cut the Rewind, right? I think Rewind's weak in this matchup. I like it like when we're having counter wars. I don't like it here. Would I even cut a Cryptic? Isn't that kind of like our build around card? Maybe Sultai Charm is just a little bit too heavy for what I want it to do. I know it hits Reveler, I know, but it's a little bit too heavy for what I want to be doing. Also, if we're going after their graveyard with Spell Bombs, hopefully we can keep them off of casting them. I think I cut a reasonable card. We're just screwing around with the Sultai Charm. I just like this card. I don't think it's even correct, but I just happen to like the card. I mean, you hand me a card that says, "Hey, I can do basically anything." I'm gonna be excited about it. It does so many different there's so many. I just like the card. But I mean, this is a faster matchup, so like us having fun, flexible, expensive cards in this matchup is bad choice probably. Oh, I brewed like a really bad Vraska deck before I started up the stream today. It was like Vraska Bug with I guess I had Bug on the brain from yesterday. It was like Hatching Plans, new Vraska. It was pretty bad. I'm into it though. Has a sweeper. A lot of their damage does have to come from the creatures themselves. That's unfortunate. It's probably one of their deck's best starts. But then we drew the answer because we're like a boss. Like a boss. Answering the Swiss Spear earlier than hoping for the damnation is important. Oh yeah, Lillian stream. I thought about showing it to you guys, and then I thought better of it. I think it all start. I have a Vraska on my desk, and I was like, man, what about this card? Like, how would you make the plus ability like reasonable? And I was thinking like aristocrats, and then I was like, why don't we go deeper and we go like hatching plans? We tried hatching plans with Ugin's Construct. Ugin's Construct. That sounds sweet. Oh. Huh. Anyways, here's a Tamir build. Well, thanks for sharing it, Dry. I hope you don't feel like I'm getting down on the Tamir. I think Tamir's sweet. I think Bant again could also be sweet. I don't want you to think I'm down on the Tamir build. I think red has a lot of nice things going for it. I mean, like Anger the Gods out of the board, right? Surely you have some Angers. I see, and you also get Magma Spray. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like about Display of Dominance. There's a lot to like about the red splash, right? You get Expansion, Explosion. I don't know if you still need the Blue Sun if you're going to be on Expansion, but to each their own. And maybe I just haven't played the deck enough to like see a few games where we don't draw the win conditions. I'm assuming you're only on 2 teachings as well. No, just you are on 3. Fair enough. I've really, really liked though the search for Escantas. Call me crazy. I've really, really liked the 2 of search for Escanta we're playing. I just like that it's hard to answer. It has a lot of synergy for Wilderness Reclamation. That's just a personal preference. Obviously, you have to get it on the table, and that's a lot to ask for. Don't care if you're going down. It's just tested better. Okay. Well, you also have to remember this isn't my list. I'm not going to sit here and necessarily defend it. This is more or less from Ftzz. He actually is the original deck builder. He came in here and gave us some tips, Dry. Just didn't like what it did to your curve. Fair enough. No, I'll consider checking it out, man. I mean, I'm stuck with this build for the rest of the league. It's not like I can switch into a different color combination or anything. It doesn't quite work like that, chat. Wonder if this is indicative that I plan to kill the Swift Spear, me going basic here, because we have so many lands in the deck that kind of want to come into play tapped. Oh wow, is he on a 1-lander? That could buy us a lot of time. Granted, I'm at 10, but him being on a 1-land draw. Thank goodness this is Abrupt Decay and not the Assassins. If that was Assassin's Trophy. Let's get the Pluto Delta out of the way. Like if he just goes Swift Spear here, doesn't have second land, doesn't have Gut Shot. I wish I could counter that. Nope. I think Arthur was coming up with an interesting build that used a different tutor than teachings, because theoretically you don't even necessarily have to build it into a teaching shell. In theory, like in theory, the deck can be built with a different tutor, a different suite of tutors. If you want to get technical, which I do, I like getting technical. We've established this. I'm not going to play. See, I see what you mean though. The search sometimes being awkward for the curve, because like I want to cast the teachings, or I want to be snapcasting. Now, I think I'm just supposed to teachings up. How many creatures are there? Nothing. I think I'm just supposed to teachings for Bolt Me. Yeah, I think we just want to gain some life. Like, geez. I think I just want to grab the Pulse of Marasa. And that gives us land drop, so it's important that I make. It's especially important that we make our land drops games that, like beyond 4 games that we don't find Reclamation. It's very, very important, I would say. Oof, Blood Moon. Blood Moon. He has 2 cards left, though. I'm not going to be casting the Damnation anyway. Might as well put the Snapcaster into play. Like, what am I going to Snapcast? I guess we still get access to teachings, though. Like, we had quite a few basic sources out there before this happened. Like, we only got stripped of green. We didn't even see a green. And Search for Escanta might help us dig to those outs. So, Game's not necessarily completely over. Obviously, I'm not going to want to flip the Search for Skanta as long as the Blood Moon's in play. Snap Eldritch. You're really on that Eldritch Evolution, Last God. You could try the new one, the invent half of the split card, invent. Why don't you link it in chat, MTG and Bellic? I don't have that one memorized, to be perfectly honest. That sounds sweet, though. Land drops. Alright, Decay, we're going to Graveyard. Misty turns on the Flashback Teachings. But what would I get? And it's not like I'm playing an Echoing Truth to bounce the Blood Moon to get back into the game. What would I flashback teachings for? Like, we're actually really close to Nexus, but I don't even know if that's the right line. Is it more Snap Mages? Oh, am I just dead? Okay. So Incursion is interesting. More Snapcasters are interesting. I mean, maybe I am just supposed to grab the teachings because I'm not exactly sure what I want. I can't cast a lot of these things. Obviously, the most obvious out we can't cast unless we find the forest. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's tempting to just get Cryptic, even though we only have one island left. That's not worth it. We probably just get Snap or Teachings or Nexus. Expansion Living End. That's sweet. Guess I will get Teachings. But we should just be digging to find either the forest, or we're happy seeing the forest, we're happy seeing... I don't think the game's over just yet, which would be a reason for me to... Okay. He wants to surgical my Pulse of Marasa. Okay. I mean, I can't cast it anyway. You got it, opponent. I'm probably gonna Mystical Teachings into Fatal Push. Like, I don't think I get fancy. We could theoretically still win this, chat, and our clock is higher than the opponent's. So as long as we play at a nice pace, I don't mind continuing this second game, even though it looks... I mean, sure, it looks like it's favored in my opponent's... Like, it looks like it's favored for the opponent, but you'd be surprised. Like, it's as simple as we find... it's as simple as finding either the basic island or the basic forest. And I've still got a Flashback Teachings here, so we can chain some stuff together. We can piece it together. So do I just want more Snapcaster Mages? It shouldn't be hard for me to find another land for the Nexus. I don't think that's correct, though. All I have is a Snapcaster Mage. Like, we got a lot of tools. He didn't even take the Pulse accidentally. I just noticed that. Maybe I should just go on the aggressive plan. Just have a bunch of Snapcasters. Yes, no. Delta. So now we have Nexus mana. Bunch of uncastables, though, when you think about it. My hand's basically just a couple of Snapcaster Mages, but Snapcaster Mage is one heck of a card. Phoenix. Okay. So we decay the Phoenix. He's at 8. If I just put the other Snapcaster into play, he has a lot he has to deal with. Opponent has 1 card, though. I think I do want to keep Snap Dispel. Graveyard. Nope. Like, it doesn't change the clock if I was to have put the other Snapcaster into play, unfortunately. Is this just Phoenix again? We win. Oh, he's on the defense with it? That's funny. I mean, but this would win. I don't know, gut shot, he gets to... Wow, we got there. All right, sweet. Blood Moon. Is it a problem? Yeah. Can we beat it? Apparently. Sweet. So we win this next one. We prize this one as well. Not as fancifully as the first one we did last night. We did a league yesterday where it was a 4-1, which was juicy. That felt great. I couldn't Blue Sun. Blue Sun's triple blue. I had double blue at that moment. Like, we were cut from triple blue. We won that game off of the back of double island, which was relevant a couple times. Double island, single swamp. We managed to get there. Gotta thank Nick for those bow ties. Yes, you do, Jade. Yeah, Nick's a good dude. He's like that. He's the type that'll gift subs. 3-2 Dream. Well, okay, a 3-2 following up a 4-1. And I made some heavy changes to the list between. We also played the same guy twice, which is like that wouldn't normally happen in a turn. I mean, it's possible to have that happen, but it's not likely. It wasn't like we played. It wasn't even like we played like 2 people on the same archetype. No, it was literally the same guy. Same deck back to back. I'll keep this on the back of land drops and a remand, I suppose. See what opponent's up to over there. Oh, he's mill. That's not good. Can we win this matchup? I have no idea. I would assume that we don't win this matchup. You never know. Man, he's even got the fetches. It's not like he's playing it on a budget. Ooh, and the Mesmeric Orb. And we're a deck that wants to tap and untap. Oh boy. Yeah, I think we're dead, guys. Nexus shuffles, though. They can't mill your Nexus out. Yeah, but they have surgicals. We'd have to win the fight over surgical. Glimpse doesn't have art for some reason. There it goes. Like I'd have to cast it. I have to cast it before we lose the Nexus. I guess I could like naturally discard it. Nexus can't even enter the graveyard. Right, sorry, if it would be, it's a replacement. If it would be put, shuffle it instead. Well, I kind of want to give us the option to grab the Snapcaster Mage with the Pulse, I guess, if he doesn't play something worth remanding. I assume he's just going to go land drop. And these guys will be main decking surgicals, so it's not even a thing necessarily to think that we could snap push the... See, for example, there's a surgical. Yeah, how's it going? Assuming I'm just going to get punished by this, right? They play like quite a few surgicals. I mean, we're playing against a burn deck essentially that has an access that we don't deal with very well. Game one, like all my removals virtually dead. He's looking for his surgical. Doesn't get it off, but I'm not. Like 18 cards left. I mean, sure, I finally kill the crab, but theoretically, finally kill the crab. But at what cost? What's left? You know, for us. Yeah, so we finally push this crab, but it's a little bit too late, right? I imagine. I have 14 cards left. Ooh, mission briefing, yeah, with the oh, we've seen that wombo before. That's actually really sweet. So mission briefing plus archive trap is a definite combo. It's actually really strong. So I'm on one card. I don't have the ability to discard my own Nexus. All right. We should have naturally discarded the Nexus. Would that have worked? Like would we have if I hadn't played out my lands and we just discarded the Nexus naturally, does that actually beat them game one? If so, that's sweet. I just didn't know to do it. I didn't I mean, I know we kind of briefly talked about it, but I just didn't really think about how that would actually look. So if you see a line I don't see, chat, don't assume that I see it. Like don't be afraid to. This isn't just a brewing stream; it's also a learning stream. So don't be hesitant to be like, "Hey, BrewSpy, by the way, don't play those lands. We should try to discard that." How bad would it beat them? He'll just redraw them. In my opinion, this deck would need a way to win from the graveyard. We use our graveyard as a resource in this deck, though. It's like fuels our searches. We have Snapcaster Mages. We have Mystical Teachings that have flashback. Like, what do you mean you want us to win from the graveyard? Or Dorax. Anyway, how do we beat Mill? He's got some problematic permanents that Explosives takes care of. Both of them. Both Hedron and the other. I don't really want to run the pushes. Like, I'd rather be running the stuff that answers. Obstructionist, would this stop the opponent flashing back a archive trap? I think it would. I know this is a bizarre matchup. I don't know exactly what I want or need. Devour Flesh can go to. But the problem is he discards it, draws it again. I'm not relying on any flyers, dorks. Like a lot of our game ones are won off of Tar Pit, actually. Tar Pit and Snapcaster beats, taking extra turns. Is there something in the sideboard that jumps out at you that we want, guys? Like, Rejection does counter well, it's probably not as good as like using Charm to remove it, but these are still more efficient in removing that. And Explosives answers multiple of them. I think I'd rather have Explosives. Yeah, Tar Pits. That's actually why I think one of the reasons the Pulse Mirasis main, it's kind of like the third Tar Pit, right? If one of these dies, you get it back. Let's run it. I don't think it's the perfect sideboard. I think our sideboard is a little bit different than what I just did for Mill, but it's a matchup I've never played before. Much less with teachings, much less at all. I have seen, though, the mission briefings archive trap Mill once or twice before. I think it's really sweet. I do believe it's really sweet. I'm not going to say it's good or bad, and I'm not going to say it's something that I would personally play. I think that I do believe that mission briefing archive trap adds a really important dimension to the deck that it didn't have previously, which I think is really, really invaluable. Oh, here we go. You want to spiral? So I'm assuming we get to do the juicy play of spiral into Spell Snare, which is this is the dream. We're living the dream. I've wanted to do something like this for some time. Put the right land into play. Spell snare that. That's dirty. That's dirty. That's when it feels like you're just cheating in Modern. Look at that. That felt like cheating a little bit. I don't think I click, right? That felt like cheating. That felt sweet. Why play anything? What? Why wouldn't you want to counter the Mesmeric Orb? I should have clicked there. I should have definitely been dealing clicked there. Oops. That's okay. That's okay. We're learning the deck. We're learning this build. We're learning. Visions, just to draw a card. You got it. So I'm assuming opponent is really messed up over there. I'm kind of tempted to just click myself. I'm assuming his hand is... Yeah. Opponent scoops. Did we board incorrectly? Is it just so important for me to... Okay. Is it so very important that I can beat the Mesmeric Orbs that I would run the Pulse and the Rejection? I mean, not the Pulse, the Sultai Charm. Like, is it just that important? That card is really important to their deck. Just pointing that out. You don't think so? Yeah, I kind of like this configuration. Just discard Nexus, play nothing. Is that one of the big reasons why Nexus is in the deck in the first place, is just to make us immune to milling ourselves? And then it kind of has this weird... We get to play this weird posturing where they can't quite mill us. Don't play anything, no land, no anything. And what, just beat them down with a tar pit? Alright, I'll take your advice. So literally... Well, we'd have to have the Nexus. We'd have to tutor for the Nexus. Right? I think I do keep this. He kept this quick 7 though, so that's scary. They literally can't beat you if you play nothing. Just don't play anything, period. Well, wait a minute. I mean, like, we don't want to play Magic? Are you saying I take off all my yields and we just pass for 20 minutes? That doesn't seem like fun at all. You mean just keep 7 cards? Like, can I actually, like, play a tar pit? Like, we're planning to kill him with the tar pit, right? They have fields, though. They have Field of Ruins. Just keep 7, and if you have 8, play lands. I get what you're saying, right? Nexus doesn't have a trigger. It's a replacement effect, so they can't surgical it. If they were to Thoughtseize it, it's not fun, but they'll lose guaranteed. Yeah, what about Leyline? Leyline would do it, or what was the other spell? Unmoored Ego? I have no idea either. I mean, I'm just kind of trusting you guys at this point. If they have Leyline, they do win. I mean, without the Wilderness Reclamations, I do feel less confident about our ability to win. Alright, personally, I would just play the game. I know, right? That's kind of like my like the thing that I'm like, oh, I don't know about this. Well, Remand keeps us at the same amount of cards. Spiral wouldn't because we'd be playing land. I mean, you guys are saying just keep my hand at 7. Remand does that command. Cryptic Command also fulfills that role. I mean, we would have to counter the 2 cards we just named, right? Even if I am going for... Like, I would have to... I would have to fight over Ley Lines. I would have to fight over Unmoored Ego. But theoretically, we don't have to fight over anything else. I don't think he's playing an ego effect. No, and I'm just saying that's the thing that would beat us, is what I'm saying. Now, if I growth spiral, I throw off our little idea here, right? I guess I was considering it, but... Nexus of Fate, End of the Revealed. Yeah, it just immediately goes back into the deck. That's fascinating. That's really fascinating. It's like we can't lose to mill because we have that card in our deck, theoretically. Or it's difficult for us to lose to mill because of that. But we still have to win the game somehow, right? They could beat you if they surgical something in your hand. I see. So we do still want to get to Cryptic mana. So we drew the Nexus. We have 13 cards left, so we do want to shuffle that back into the deck, right? Like we don't play land drop here? No, they'll mill out, you won't die because of Nexus. We have to play 48 turns of draw go. I discard this though here, right? I mean, we want to make sure it's back in the deck. Alright, now we start discarding it. No, I'm with you now, chat. I get it, and we just hopefully... The problem is we didn't make enough land drops before the opponent started milling us entirely, is the problem, actually. Like, in an ideal world, we make one last land drop. Okay. Nexus of Fate has gone back into the deck 3 times now. I'm going to leave this as a stack just so you guys can see how many times we shuffle it back in. 2 cards left. We lost a land to his Field of Ruin, though. So I can't justify playing land. Well, now we get to see if he does have something like Leyline or Unmoored Ego. Or like a threat, like something that can hit us. Like we went all in on your plan. Like I hope you didn't screw us over because this is our last game of the league. You owe me another league if we lose this. I'm kidding, chat. Relax. This is all for science at this point. I mean, can't we still lose here? He just needs a surgical. And my hand does have cryptics. I don't think this was a good plan. I think we should have played Magic. Like, discard interrupts this. Yeah, like, this wasn't a good plan. Why did we think this was a good plan? Yup. I mean, I kind of saw some sort of outcome like this coming. I went along with the plan, chat. You guys owe me $12. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we should have played Magic. We should have played Magic. Because discard spells. Because surgical effects. Why did we think that was good? I mean, I don't want to nitpick. I don't want to go back through the chat and be like, well, you said it was a good idea and you said it was a good idea. Because at the end of the day, I'm steering the ship. And if I listen to someone that doesn't have a good idea but thinks it's a good idea, it's our own fault. Our draw was actually a little bad, though, there. Could we have won? I don't know, because like the game became so different because we thought this was going to be a thing. Yeah. I agree, boss. I was in the same boat, but we learned a valuable lesson. Playing Magic is better than not playing Magic. Do we have any speed brews to do? I'd love to do some speed brews so we have money to play more leagues. Because there goes. Well, maybe we still have some stuff. We also have some chesties we could open. We got enough. We don't have enough points to play a league. We could play a friendly league with that. It's not enough to play a comp. I like the deck though, regardless. Oh, well, thanks, Last God. I really appreciate the 100 biddies. I wasn't trying to guilt trip you. I just think it's hilarious. I think that's funny. I think it's funny that I listen to you guys. Absolutely. Let's do it. What do you got? Let me turn the deck back in. Let me see how much money we got. Let me get the timer ready. We're going to do some speed brews now, guys. If you're looking for the coolest thing that if that's a word, the coolest thing that we've come up with to do on the BrewSpy channel lately, it is the speed brews. Let me look at my card hoarder account and see how much monies we got. Is it going to be an expensive deck? Is it for Legacy? Like what format? I can kind of gauge whether or not we need to get back the Teachings deck right now. I'm not mad at anybody. I hope you guys know I'm just trolling. Like, I'm not... Me going along with that was kind of also a bit of a troll. Oh yeah, I've got plenty of loan account left. This deck was like 180 tickets. So, it'd have to be really expensive. What classifies a speed brew? What? I have 30 minutes to brew a deck with you guys helping me. It's Legacy? Oh, okay, I will give back the deck then. Okay. Thank you for telling me. When it comes to Legacy, it's very, very possible that it's going to take the whole loan account. And speaking of cardholder loan account, if you guys want to get your own loan account just like I have, actually I'll show you the process. They revamped it. It's really nice. I believe the free codes I'm giving out this coming weekend are for 500 tickets. So if you want 500 tickets to play around with on Moto, please consider doing the brew off. There's the command for that. It's got some of the rules. Basically, I will be picking the top 3 decks because I got 3 codes. I'm not asking for any sort of weird... I mean, it's a giveaway. They're to be given away. I'm not prioritizing subscribers or anything like that. It's literally the 3 decks that I think are the sweetest. You can enter. You don't even need to be a follower of my stream. But if you put a sweet deck list onto either the Facebook page or the Twitter page for the channel, I'm going to look through those this coming weekend. So please have all your submissions in before Saturday because I'm probably going to start looking at them Saturday through Sunday and probably pick a victor Sunday. That's my plan. You shot me some ideas, Melfina. I'm not gonna. Obviously I don't want to sway you. Rooftop storm. There you go. All right, come on, card hoarder. Let's do this trade. Let's do this thing. Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready. I love the full. The new automated system is the best because you can just do full trade binder, and then it just because it's a robot pulls the relevant cards. That's what we just borrowed for the newer version of the deck, the Escanta version, I should say. It's that simple. Boom, shakalaka. And we'll return this order. This is great though. They really upped their game on the loaning, the card loaning. So Mana Traders was really the only other people that were doing it. Now card hoarders kind of got their hand in the ring. And you guys just like me get to be more guinea pigs in a way. Testing their system, being able to borrow Magic the Gathering cards. I mean, you can take it as you want. I mean, we're all, all of us are gamers, right? To some point. We're all beta testers to some point, right? So you get to kind of beta test. Like I guess I was technically part of the alpha test of the card hoarder loan program. And now it's kind of going into the beta. Yeah, spice. I'm grading it on spice, creativity, competitive nature, and those are 3 hard things to balance. How do you balance being creative but it's spicy, but it's also like I'm looking for innovation, but I also want it to theoretically be competitive. My definition of competitive is skewed, though. Now look how much of this deck I actually don't own at the end of the day. All right, so I'm ready. I'm ready to play Legacy now. I'm ready. My body is ready. All right, let me just go into the Legacy room. Let me get the camera ready. Get the cam ready. Because behind my head there's going to be a timer up here. If we get it just right. Just open a fresh Legacy. But you have 30 minutes to brew the deck, main deck and sideboard. It's not going to be easy. This is for MTG in Bellic. Oh, you totally told me what the cards were, and I didn't even see your comment. In Bellic, I didn't look at it. I swear. Just let me set up here, and then I'll look at the chat. I'm assuming that's you telling me what the cards are. Your at BrewSpy comment. All right, let's see. Window capture. Add new source. We want Firefox. Yeah. One of these days I'm gonna get like a fancy, maybe somebody that knows how to set up a like a nice little countdown timer. I mean, if you have the time to do so, that'd be actually really appreciated. So I'd rather not like do this kind of wonky dance of put the timer behind my head each time. And it's not like I can leave it set up there. The window capture on Streamlabs OBS is a lot more finicky than what I used previously. OBS, you can actually do that where you can have like a window, and anytime you open that window, like a browser window, as long as you set it to the right web page, it'll do it. But oops. Rip. But if anybody's savvy with that kind of a thing, I'd very much appreciate it, because I think the timer adds, though, when we do these speed brews. I think the timer on the screen somewhere adds. I think it's important. Because otherwise, like, what's the goal, right? We're just brewing a deck, which is something we've always done on the channel. Whereas if I have a time limit, we have to work together, searching up cards quickly. And this time, we're not going to... this is a tier 1, right? So for those of you that don't know the rules for speed brews, I promise you I still haven't looked at the cards. Speed brew. Speed brew rules are, if it's tier 1, we've got 30 minutes. Oh, sorry, it's in the Discord, the extended rules. Well, you can find those rules in the Discord for the channel, but basically I've got 30 minutes for a tier 1. I think we set it to 45 for a tier 2, and it's an hour for a tier 3, but so we have a half hour to brew the best deck that we can. All right, let's do it. So what are the cards? All right. Overburden and or Mana Breach. Interesting. I think I know what Mana Breach is, actually. Alright, let's brew. Set the clock to 30 minutes. We got 30 minutes. Oh, come on. So what do those cards make you think of, chat? When you think of Legacy, when you think of... Like, we want it to be relatively competitive, since we are taking it to the queues and we're wasting our... Not wasting, it's not a waste. We're using our precious points. Mana Breach and Overburden. Oh yeah, I think I have seen this enchantment. It's had a couple reprintings. Just outside of Modern... So while we're casting spells, they return lands. So already I'm thinking it's a Mox Diamond deck. That's easy. That's the easy part. The difficult part is what the heck is Overburden. Mana Denial. Whenever a player puts a non-token creature, they return land. Okay. Well, interesting. Okay. Um, hmm. I mean, this harkens me back to like stasis. This makes me think stasis, which, by the way, stasis, since we played it back in the day, stasis now also has access to Teferi. Teferi being bonkers. I don't know why I'm like these kinds of effects make me think of something like Teferi. But if we're gonna go the route of not stasis and we're going more mana breach and overburden, this makes me think like artifact mana would be important. It would be more like a Tezzeret Seeker kind of a build. It's an interesting concept. I still like my brain is still thinking Teferi. So Teferis, Tezzerets, maybe like balance. Well, no, like tabernacle, like not that Tezzeret. This one, like seekers, Teferis, force of wills, maybe like border posts. Well, Legacy doesn't have balance. I mean, if we're talking vintage, well, it'd be a very different beast. You wanted this brewed for Legacy, right? Stasis. The fairy doesn't help with mana. No, that's the problem with the fairy. It's just I would want to play some play. The problem was before is we brewed this with like Tezzeret the Seekers, and Ral Zareks, and it was really bad. Like I mean, like Stasis makes sense to me here. Okay, if it's Legacy, then I like Restore Balance and Legacy would be kind of a weird mismatch, wouldn't it? Casting spells returns lands, but we can operate off of Mox Diamonds. If we go deeper into artifacts, we also get, Mox Opal. We could even play Signets or like Talismans. I could certainly see like some number of Mox in. Alright, if we're going artifact mana, why not just play Antiquity War? How would the deck win? I'm not so concerned with the deck winning yet. If the goal is to mana deny, you usually think about the win conditions after the prison effects. We look like a Chalice of the Void deck. We look like a Seat of the Synod deck. I mean, Teferi also would require us to splash. I mean, granted, I don't think colors is going to be an issue. We're going to need to reach into some other colors. A card that I've always wanted to test in Legacy, but I've never had a deck that really made sense for it. I've wanted to test Gear per Aether Grid. I think much like Liliana is very strong, I think Gear per Aether Grid is uncharted, glorious territory for Legacy. Not that I'd play a playset, but maybe like 2 or 3. I think this is actually really powerful. This could be the win condition. I mean, we don't need to go like as big as Antiquities War. We could just ping them out with Aether Grids. Sure, it'd take a while. But I mean, if they have no land, it doesn't really matter. Overburden. But yeah, Stasis wouldn't work unless we have like more Planeswalkers to take advantage of it. And maybe that's not what we want to do. Maybe these are like kind of like here. Maybe that's not what we want to do. We could still play Flusterstorm even if we're a Chalice deck quite nicely. I also think that when we play these blue-based Chalice decks, we should lean heavier. We should lean, harder on Flusterstorm than I normally do. I don't know if it would have a playset per se, but the fact that Flusterstorm works alongside Chalice more or less when it comes to instants and sorceries. Obviously, the reason you can't just play a playset of it has more to do with the fact that it's Only instants and sorceries, you know. But it's an interesting idea. But what lands do we play beyond Seat? Like, are we playing Darksteel? Like, what are we playing? I don't mind Darksteel in Legacy just because the format's filled with Wasteland. Also, speaking of which, if our mana base is monocolor, we can also get away with Wastelands of our own, which is kind of nice. We can kind of backbreakingly pair our Tabernacle with some Wastelands. Maybe we should be playing Crucible. I don't know. Like I would imagine we would want to play a lot of the mana denial elements that we can in these colors. Like, is this a War of Invention kind of idea? Like, I don't know. We're still just kind of playing around with these. These are our build around cards, so we do need to include as many copies as works. Is there like something weird that's like each player can't play land? I don't know. I'm just sad that they're gonna get to replay the land the next turn. I mean, if we have Chalice, then their 1-drops don't matter as much. The things that we'll lose to are more like Gurmag Angler, kind of a thing. What about Hedron Crab, Mana Breach? Ebony Owl Netsuke? About just Boomerang? Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, Tezzeret actually makes more sense than like a bunch of words do. And Tezzeret can find bullets like Trinisphere or engineered. I mean, well, engineered for 0, but that's not useful. I mean, more along the lines of ensnaring bridge. Now, what are the detriments of playing something like this? Well, Colligan's Command. The things we can play sideboard that can kind of protect us. You got your welding jars, this and that. I mean, and again, we already have some of the stuff necessary for a stasis lock. Like it's probably going to be a Tabernacle deck. It's probably going to be Mana Rocks and Tezzeret. So when you have Tezzeret with Mana Rocks, that makes me want to play. We got 20 minutes though, chat. So we got to come up with something. I mean, like this deck does make me think Stasis. I'm just gonna put that out there again. Like a lot of what's going on here, Stasis does make sense. And then you just ultimate Tezzeret. We could do a white splash, but what does that even gain us, right? I mean, I guess it gives us like Enlightened Tutor, but I wouldn't really want Tutor in the same deck as Chalice. I mean, the white gives us, like Council's Judgment maybe. That's a little heavy on the colors, but you kind of get the point. Maybe there is something sweet and white I'm just not thinking of, like an Armageddon or something like that. No, we don't have to be mono blue. There's a lot of reasons to splash. I mean, if we're going into Stasis, I have wanted to test Teferi with Stasis. Both of these Planeswalkers have quite a bit of colorless mana to them. Some of these other plays have colorless mana to them, so we could be an Ancient Tomb deck. If we're just doing a very light white. I mean, the benefit of the red splash is self-explanatory. It's getting to run either grid. It's getting to run... I mean, Ral Zarek also does fulfill a stasis lock. Like, you get the stasis lock and then you take a few extra turns. Are there any other Planeswalkers off the top of your head, guys, that work with stasis? God, we haven't played a stasis deck in a long time. I think we tried like Intuition last time, but that's just bad, I think. I think we should just... I don't think we should be doing an Intuition build of this. I understand why we did it, because it would find Stasis or it would find one of the Planeswalkers. But yeah. They're both pitchable. I mean, all these different Planeswalker choices are going to be pitchable to Force. I think the first Either Grid main board's fine, and then we have like another copy sideboard or maybe even two. And then our sideboard plan could be the Antiquities War when we know it's a grind. I'm less excited about the card main board, I think. Flusters could be here. Wilderness Reclamation works with it. It does. Add some red artifact land. I always forget what the name of it is, though. It's like something Forge. We got 18 minutes, yo. 18 minutes. Battlefield Forge. Honestly, I just like the Antiquities War. What about Blue-Green Nissa? Great Furnace. Thank you. Is there another... I mean, there's Nissas, right, if we go into green. Do you have a card hoarder code? No, I don't have anything at the moment. They're thinking about helping out card hoarder streams with like some cool swag to give away. I don't know if that's in the works. Anything like what you just suggested, to be perfectly honest. And then other than that, the mana base could just be a Scalding Tarn. Kind of... I don't know if I want actual... I think I'm happy with Ancient Tomb. I don't know if I want actual... Oh, I can't borrow foily Scalding Tarn. This was a gift. That's why I have that. It's a very generous gift from a viewer not too long ago. We do need quite a few more lands. I don't think we'd play the playset of Great Furnace. And I also don't know if we can support the playset of Darksteel anymore if we're going to go 2-color. Maybe this goes down. And then we run Volcanic, 2 islands, and a mountain, probably. And I know that's weird, right? It's Legacy. It's strange to play like 4 fetch. Yeah, 4 fetch, and then you've got only 4 searchables. That's not really where you want to be. Maybe I should only play 3 Scalding Tarn if I'm only going to run 4 fetchables. You know, like Lunchables. 1 too many Tarns. Well, it might still be 1 too many Tarns. I don't like to run the same number of fetchables as fetches. Like, just by a rule of thumb, I tend to prefer to have more things to search for than tutors. What about Karns? Yeah, Karn could be sweet. I mean, first of all, like, we have way too many... Like, our mana's not supporting the Mox Diamonds at the moment. So we need to kind of make some decisions there. How many Mox Opal, how many Mox Diamond? My motor's crashing. I don't know why. We're crashing, but we have 15 minutes left to build the deck. Come on, Moto. Okay. So give me a mountain. Give me some islands. Let's up the quantity a little. But see, like, then we don't even have room for the wastelands that I really wanted to run some number of. So again, I'm going to ask it again. How much room for some of these lands do we really have, chat? Let's cut 1 Tarn. Let's cut a Great Furnace. Let's cut the Darksteel. It's 58. Let's play... I just had it in my brain and I lost it. Wouldn't Lotus Petal be better? Maybe. I mean, you kind of want permanent... You want permanent mana sources. I mean, if we're going for the super long game, I almost want to have less opals. To be perfectly honest, I'd trim like an opal. Maybe even as many as down to 2. I think 3 is still pretty happy. I think 3 is fine. Because like worst case scenario, the extra opals are just a Lotus Petal, whereas the Mox Diamonds... Actually, maybe it's the Mox Diamonds that are more heavy on the deck, to be perfectly honest. I mean, sure, we have to turn on the opals, so we're happy to see like the first diamond or so. But maybe we should actually be on fewer diamond. We also just don't have nearly enough lands to justify 4 Mox Diamond. We're probably more like a 2 to 3 of on these. What about Orb of Dreams? Orb of Dreams. Well, okay, so you could run. What is that? There's a different orb. There's permanence entered tapped. So the fact that the lands are tapped, that's kind of dirty. But what about even just like stasis? What is it? Stasis something orb. Used to see play in Delver sideboards. It's like you only get to untap one land. Sphere of Resist. No, Winter Orb, I think was what I was thinking of. Yeah, Winter Orb. How can I forget Winter Orb, guys? Crazy, crazy. This card's a classic. Yeah, Winter Orb. But like those are all sorts of things where like the second copy doesn't really do anything. Same can be said about either grid. Like I'm with you there. Like maybe more than 2 in the 75 is kind of crazy talk. But the red gives us some cool options out of the board. It gives us like a split of Pyroclasm and maybe some Kozilek's Return, because I'm assuming we're going to be bad against Death and Taxes, right? So we kind of want some options there. We get to play Blasts if we want to, which is interesting. Kind of like the non... It doesn't matter. This also has... I don't know what I did. I did something wrong. I've ruined Moto. There we go. I'm fine with like a Watermark Pyroclasm. But anyway, so like we get to run like Pyroclasms and or Kozilek's Return. What about Fire Ice? Play some Blue Blast. Well, no, we want Hydroblast. If we're in a Snaring Bridge deck, you definitely want the ones that we can cast, even if there's no target. So you want them to say if, not only. So like we get some blasts up in here. God, we only got it 12 minutes or less. I mean, it looks like it's coming together though. Kind of. We need like surgicals, right? Unless we're gonna run ley lines. I mean, here's the benefit of ley line. Not that I do like pairing Tezzeret the Seeker with Helm combo, and the fact that this deck actually has 3 or more Tezzeret the Seekers gets me excited. If anything, the deck should be 4 Seeker, and then if we have remaining slots, maybe some number of Xerics. The Xerics would just be here for their synergy with Stasis, which if we're not going to run tutors, for the Xeric, I think he's substantially weaker than this Tezzeret. I mean, you could even argue that maybe you just play the first one because the 4th Tezzeret is still better, and then maybe you draw a spell to find the 4th Tezzeret is still better than even theoretically the first Ral Xeric, and maybe the power level on Xeric is so low that it's hard to justify the second copy in the first place. Those are just my thoughts out loud. That's, streamer life. What about Chain of Vapor? With low lamp count, Mox Diamond would seem tough. Why don't you play Chrome Mox? Well, yeah, we'd have to run a lot more lands for Mox Diamond to work. I could get behind Chrome. I could get behind Chrome Moxin. I mean, my worry with this many artifacts is that the Chrome Moxin won't have something to pitch to. There are other ways we can get our mana going, right? We could just play. We could play the deck in such a way that we would have fewer turn 1 Chalice of the Void, which is not irrelevant. But we could go with a more stable mana base, which would look like more lands that are resilient to Wasteland. But we could play Talismans. I wouldn't play Signets. I would play, which is unfortunate because Is It Signet would make sense here. So unfortunately, like our color combination isn't happy. I mean, there is the classic, just Is It Signet. The problem is we need the initial mana source to filter it to do the thing. But that is one like way we could build that into the mana base. Technically ramps us, just like Opal will. A little less heavy on us than Diamond. Frozen Aether. Well, what's so bad about Orb of Dreams? Essentially does the same thing, only for our opponents. Am I the only one wondering why just blue red and not going into 3 colors? What's the benefit? What are we going to play out of green? And are you pitching Reclamation? I mean, I don't hate the idea of Reclamation. Green for burgeoning. Is the green for Reclamation? Heartcast our forces. What's the green for beyond Fast Bond? Vintage. Exploration. Oh, Root Maze. Well, that's a 1 mana drop though. Are you thinking? Are you thinking Root Maze Stasis? Is that what you're thinking? Yeah, the deck we were just playing. Yeah, so you're talking about literally building Reclamation into this. It's spicy. The thing though is our lands are going back into our hand. Like that's the reason why I don't think that Mox Diamond is actually a really big deal. Like between Overburden, sorry, the Mana Breach is what's going to put our lands back into our hand. So like I actually think Mox Diamond was fine. We just need to do some trimming and add yeah. Drop Ftzz, just run the enchantments. Tezzret's so much more flexible though than the enchantment. Like it's a win condition rolled into an enabler for stasis, rolled into a tutor for bridge, things like Trinosphere, Orb. That's not me saying you're wrong and I'm right. I mean, we only have so much time, and ultimately somebody has to make the decisions, or we're going to be here and run on a clock. So that would be a 60. Will I post the winners? I can post them, Bellic. That'd be as simple as me just like retweeting or reposting decks that are already posted. I may even feature them on the stream. I haven't decided just yet. Have not decided. Also, something to note, Overburden doesn't work against all the different decks that we're going to face, obviously. He meant drop Ral? Oh. You're saying the enchantment is better than Ral. Oh, an extra Frozen Aether? I mean, he's just kind of a pet card at this point, right? He's another enabler for the stasis. But maybe we just don't have enough enablers for the stasis. Like when we used to play stasis, we'd run Ftz's and Ral Zarek's. Now that Teferi's been printed, a stasis deck would probably be more. I mean, like if we just don't have the tools to pull off the stasis, we don't have the tools to pull off the stasis. I think it's strong with Tabernacle. I still think we have enough synergies here to merit the Tabernacle. If we can't pull off the stasis, some things would change. We maybe main deck some of these cards that are sitting in the sideboard. Bane Orb is actually kind of an interesting sideboard card. But we got 3 minutes though to figure out what we might be doing instead of stasis, and that much time to finish figuring out the sideboard. Masterpieces that be. No, you might win. You gotta speak positive, my friend. You might win. Should we just main deck the Antiquities Wars? Maybe we really should just main deck these. That gives us a lot more sideboard space too. I'm sorry that it's almost like a cop-out because I just kind of lost... No, I wouldn't say lost my creative juices here, but I'm worried that we're going to run out of time before we have time to like smooth out little idiosyncrasies in the mana base, etc. So 3 fetch, 4 fetchables, place at a wasteland, place at a seat, 2 Great Furnace, 4 Ancient Tomb, a Tabernacle, 2 Mox Diamond. We could run one more main deck Fluster. I think Flusterstorm's really underestimated in a Chalice deck. I do think the blasts are a little bit weird, to be honest. If we did double up on any of the blasts, it actually would probably be Pyroblast. Oh, did you boss rush? I'm excited to see it. Did you put it on the Facebook or Twitter page? It doesn't matter which. Just make sure that you put it up there where I'll find it. This is a wonderful pile. I'm sure we'll get some people, and others will just kind of bounce some lands and do nothing. Nice. What's the last card gotta be? Maybe just an Engineered Explosives? We got 1 minute. Some sweepers, some counterspells, some burn. We got Leyline. Oh, Helm of Obedience. How could I forget? It's really important, actually. All right. Could it get much better than this? Absolutely. I'm glad that I kind of moved away from the stasis idea. I think stasis will be something we'll revisit, but we'll do it with Teferi. We'll do it with Teferi at some point. All right. Well, we brewed it in time. I don't think it's nearly perfect, but, you know, it'll do. In a pinch, it'll do. So what we do here is I just cut the cards we already have on my Moto account. It's going to be Forces, some of the mana base. No, Wilderness Reclamation over Rowlet Teferi. Ooh, Bant. Bant Stasis. There you go. Bant Stasis, so it'd be Reclamations and Teferis. Ooh. We gotta brew that. We'll be the first to try to attempt... the first to attempt Wilderness Reclamation in Stakes Done. Alright. Yeah, the first to adapt Wilderness into Legacy. Is that gonna be us? We could do it. If we only believe. Believe, if we only believe. Have these, have my Volcanic, need Wastes, have a Tarn. Need most of this main core. Have all the Flusters we're playing. That's about it. We do need that Geether. Alright, so then I just export. And some of why I'm showing you guys this is I really am trying to show that Card Hoarder gives a lot of the tools that make, a lot of people think that Magic Online is just too difficult to learn or this or that. There's a lot of things that people let get in the way of them, using it. I think tools, like people like Card Hoarder or Mana Traders, etc. They give you the tools to easily incorporate playing Magic Online. Like I don't do any of my trading actually on Magic Online. I do as little to none of that as possible. And there's a big reason for that. And the reason is it's just really slow when you're actually doing the trading on there. So, it is I mean, like, there's plenty of games out there that we don't question. Um, there's a lot of different uh, games out there that, like, don't play so well without some third-party apps or add-ons, this and that. We don't even question. Sure, Magic Online, my consensus after playing it for, five or so years, or no, a little longer than that. Maybe more like 6. No, as I remember when it used to look different. It doesn't matter how long. It's been a while. I feel like I have the ability to give an opinion on it. And my opinion is it's the kind of game that you do need to explore add-ons and stuff. Like I'll use Card Hoarder, I'll use Wiki Price. Just because the trading aspect of it is honestly clunky. Card Hoarder does loan cards now. Yeah, they do rent cards now, Tone. It's in beta. You can sign up for an account right now. I recommend that you do the brew off first to try your hand at winning one of my codes. Card Hoarder gave 3 codes for the stream to give away. So that gives you a free loan account of, I believe it's the same as mine, which is 500 tickets. But you just talk to them and they'll change your rate, is what they said in the details we linked the other day in the chat. They'll let you, if you want more or less, you can just have them adjust it and then your rate changes or whatever. Yeah, card should be here any second. And it's probably for the best that we're just doing. So the tier 1, so when you guys sub to my channel or you do a tier 1, whatever the equivalent donation is for a speed brew. So they're 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or an hour, depending on the tier. And then we take the deck to a respective queue or league, depending on which level. One of the reasons why I'm really benefiting the tier 2, I know you're like, well, BrewSpy, that's a huge jump between jamming in the queues versus a league. I know that. Part of that's just because if we get a lot of people jamming the level 1 speed brew, I'll be able to manage it. That's not something I did very well with the Stream queue, Intel queue. Oh, cards are already here. When you have like a bunch of cards from different, sets or legalities, it takes some time to get everybody in order. Oh yeah, for sure, Tone. Like I've enjoyed the support that I've experienced from Card Hoarder over the years. I've been part of their loan program for I think 3.5 years. They've been supporting my content and some other streamers, of course. So it helps. They want people to get excited about Magic Online. I think there's a lot of things to get excited about Magic Online. I'm still playing Magic Online. So if I'm any example to you guys of how, just with a little bit of, adding some hotkeys, a little bit of being patient and using external programs like Card Hoarder and their deck building or their list building, this and that, using MTGO Wiki Price. These sorts of tools, making it, I don't feel burdened by the I haven't in a long time. I think after the first year or so of playing Magic Online, I think that kind of went out the window for me, and I actually really enjoy it. It's not a burden. It's fun. No, it's good. And so I think that's just kind of the curve that a lot of players aren't willing to give it, especially younger players. I'm not trying to point fingers. I mean, there are plenty of players that find it frustrating enough that they don't want to take a few weeks or so or however long it would take to kind of acclimate and learn how to do it. It's a huge change anytime you go from paper Magic to digital Magic. Anyway, let's do best of 3, and then I do have that meeting that I was telling you. I have a thing at 8, so what time is it? 6:13. Let's jam some games. Add the format. They could submit Commander. They just have to know that like I haven't played Commander in a long time, so I may not be able to interpret how sweet the deck is. I don't think there's anything wrong with somebody being passionate about a Commander deck. Maybe they don't think that they can beat some of the other members on like Vintage or Legacy. I hope somebody submits Vintage. Not that that's going to auto win. That's not like a special secret. It's just I hope we see some Vintage show up. I'm assuming we're going to see a lot of Legacy and especially Modern because you guys know that's kind of. I mean, you have to know who your judges are, right? I mean, there's, if I'm the only person judging the contest, it makes sense for people to maybe flock to those formats, but you have to really impress me on those formats. Not that I'm saying I know all the ins and outs of Modern and Legacy, but I've played the formats for a while, and definitely know what I like and what I find interesting. So again, like I'm going to be grading on Spice, which I do think is different than creative deck building. Creative deck building, like your synergy kind of stuff, and then and the reason that I wanted a grade on Spice is because it's hard to brew a deck from scratch. So like if I'm grading on Spice, that means I'm not expecting to see a whole bunch of completely new decks I've never seen before show up in my inbox. I'm hoping to see some classics, right? But maybe re-envisioned. It looks like you took some time and added your own spice. So that's kind of why I wanted a grade on spice, competitive nature, and creativity. You could argue that spice and creativity are similar, but I guess when I say creativity, I mean it's like I look at it and I'm like, wow, you did this aspect of the deck or the whole deck from scratch. When I look at spice, I'm thinking, okay, this is established, but it looks like you took the time. Like it's a revamped sideboard. It's you. Magic is definitely an expression of the player. That changes everything. And then, of course, competitive nature. I'm like, okay, yes, this is creative. Would this win? I'm not going to say win a tournament. Would this win a side event? Would this win an FNM? Does this maybe just need a printing of another card or another enabler and then it's there? There's something here. You found something. It just needs maybe a couple more printings of cards. I mean, it's always fascinating to see like cards that are like almost there, right? Like Electrodominance, everybody's so sure that it's already there, right? How could they ever print anything else to abuse that card with? They probably won't. Right? We were all excited when the free cast like expertise spells were spoiled, right? We were excited about those. I got very excited back in the Brain of the Jar days. We were one of the first. I'm not trying to throw who is it? I'm trying to think of the pro player that coined the deck. I think they gave credit to I'm not saying that we were the first. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I think it was Michael Majors, I want to say. Was one of the more well-known players to take it to a tournament. Yeah, rest in peace, abusing split cards. Man, we did all sorts of Brain in a Jar. My goodness, Brain Beck. I should turn those videos into a YouTube video playlist because they were just. I had so much fun playing that deck. It didn't feel like it was fair at all. Like they had to change how that worked. It just. I mean, sure, it was a little convoluted and you had to have the pieces come together, but it was powerful. I think we're still in the queue. How sad would it be that we had this cool Mana Breach Overburden nonsense deck and we never get an opponent? Please have it turned in before Saturday, so like Friday evening. I want to have 2 days to look over the decks because I assume the fact that I'm giving away free loan cards, I hope you guys jump on the opportunity. It's a free contest. Just do it for the love of just having fun building something and turning it in. You don't have to start from scratch. Obviously, points will be awarded to people that did it. It's obvious to me that they did take the time to build some aspects of the whole deck from scratch, but that doesn't mean they win. Right? I don't think I'll pick 3 decks that look like they came exclusively from scratch because when you go exclusively from scratch, what are you losing out on? You're losing out on competitive points potentially because you haven't had a whole community of Magic players come together and test that concept. We've had several concepts, for example, on the BrewSpy show that you guys have helped me build over the years. Like Robopod's an example. We had a league that almost prized last week. we were playing Robopod with the new birthing pod creature. Cannot think of her name off the top of my head. But that was sweet. And if we had even a small community of players playing Robopod on a consistent basis and testing it at FNMs and this and that, there was like a Reddit page for it. I think the archetype would grow because I do think it's, especially with the printing of Vanifar, there we go. The printing of Vanifar, I think, changes the texture of the deck to be a much better Force of Will deck. For example, did we do a blue count? We did not. Oh. Uh-oh. 19. Oh, we're fine. 23. We're good. We're good. We're good. It's a Force of Will deck. We're fine. It's a little on the low end. I worry if we brought in Leyline of the Void. Oh, excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. I wonder if we brought in Leyline of the Void, if it would kind of fall below that level. So, I know I'm going talk show mode for a moment here. Can somebody just queue and play us? Can we get a viewer to come in here? That is the problem with that is the issue with yeah. That is certainly the issue. So I let's go back to the list. I mean, it's not perfect. Technically, this gives us opportunities to change it. I don't want to do that. Why don't we play something while we're waiting? Just don't want to cover up any cards. So this deck, this game, we'll just have it here, and I don't want to cover up the deck while we're waiting in line. So this is a relatively cheap game on, at least I got it on sale on Steam. It kind of tickles the, we'll see if it runs. So the StarCraft player in me, like when I was growing up, I played quite a bit of StarCraft, Warcraft 3. Definitely likes these kinds of games. In fact, I played a little bit the other day of, I just don't want to cover up the deck is why. It's like really small though. So this is kind of like a deck builder meets a real-time strategy. Current idea is scratch built. Oh, I saw some of your posts in the Discord. By the way, that's free game if you guys want to go into the Discord and see what other people are thinking. Alright, left click a glyph. Squad size 3. Click anywhere you have clear vision. This is kind of like a Fog of War game. Yeah, let's give you vision. Oh, it is not happy with me at all. Hang on a second. Options. I mean, if we're gonna run it this small, oh, we have an opponent. Thank goodness. That might be like a fun little game for us to play while we're waiting for vintage or whatever. We could also be double queued. I don't like to double queue when I can help it. We're on the draw. If this gets to third land, it's going to be a bridge draw. It's going to play a bridge. I don't know. We probably shouldn't keep a hand like this. I assume with a name like Gideon, this guy wants to sit down and play fair magic, right? Nope, we're dead. It's Rakdos Reanimator. I'm kidding, chat. We're fine. It's Storm instead. No. Opponent hype. Oh, I just noticed my camera's poking out. That's awkward. Put that back in there. Anyway, it's a cool little game. the Golem Gates game. I'll have to play around with it a little bit. It takes my Antiquities War. All right, especially since we just drew land, I'm kind of tempted to just waste here. But maybe that's wrong. Now, if I hadn't drawn another land, I think wasting the Underground Sea there is really greedy. Ooh, that's magic right there. The way it's meant to be played. Legacy, the way it's meant to be played. Turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Wasteland. Or our turn 1 was Wasteland. Now we could still lose this, by the way, if there's Storm, which I mean it seems as though Overburden won't matter. Would I rather him not waste us back? If you want to get technical, no. We want a higher artifact count is probably just playing the seat. So we draw any land to compare with the Mox Diamond. But watch him just waste us back, right? Oh, am I dead? Maybe. That's pretty good. Like, our hand is really good if our opponent was a fair creature deck. Theoretically, this would have been a solid draw. Like, lots of, like it has both of our build around cards. It has the bridge. Thanks for that. Follow. What's up, Picos Bill? What's up, Picos? No, they found land. How could you? Yeah, thanks for hitting that follow. Oh, the Trinisphere. We're so close. It's so good in this matchup. Can we just draw a third land? I shouldn't have wastelanded him, guys. It was greedy. It was greedy and it was wrong. And don't kill us. How do you add cards to a wish list on Moto? It's in your binders, Last God. It's in your trade binder section, I do believe. Yeah, thanks for that follow, Pecos Bill. And I also appreciate you, Yertle the Turtle. I missed you earlier with 100 bits. That is not okay. Let me see if they're still in the chat. I can maybe message them. I really appreciate those bits. I'm sorry. I missed you. Oh, we're dead. We died. No, we're not dead. Land? Why did we wasteland our opponent? Why did we think that was a good idea? Yep. Legacy at its finest. I mean, like, the wasteland felt so juicy. But look what happened. Oh, surely we're dead now, opponent. Come on. What kind of storm deck doesn't turn 6 you? Oh, they're fetching. It's a non-basic. I assume I'm dead. Why are you calculating now? Surely you know. If you're fetching, you know. You know. Will? Oh, this is a Q. So it's like, obviously it's a step up from playing in the practice room. It's a technical step down from a league. Wow. Okay. Don't want to lose to Empty the Warrens. Gearper wouldn't be fast enough to deal with it. Let's run Power Claws and Return. Let's run Helm Combo. Let's run Witchbane. Let's run Jars. Let's run the extra Fluster. Let's cut the bridge. Let's cut. So Frozen Aether's interesting. Like, all of the tokens would come in tapped, but that's not relevant, right? I mean, this is not a grind. Like, Burden doesn't do enough. Mana Breach might even be too weak. We have to cut something. Alright, so we're just a bunch of forces. I mean, like, again, a bunch of forces, a Chalice, a Tutorable Trinisphere, a bunch of Flusters. And so, I mean, like, this probably is maybe a little too much for Storm. And then, like, maybe we're bad against some other archetypes. We're not seeing that surface because we're just playing the 1v1 queue. But I don't want to belittle it. I mean, this is a speed brew. We brewed this. We took a half hour. Here we are. This is what we wanted to do with ourselves. Overburden, Mana Breach. Is this what you expected the deck to look like, by the way, MTG Bellic? I hope you enjoy it. I mean, I can never really know when I'm building something for you guys. I don't know if you're gonna like it. I hope you like the deck that we built. I hope so. I mean, maybe this is just like all these different, like maybe all this stuff just doesn't cut it against something like Storm. Like maybe it's just not a thing. And maybe we should just run the Power Blasts. Hydroblast hits Past in Flames. Obviously, if we have a Chalice in play, that's not the case. I had no idea. Well, that's the fun thing of that's the fun thing. You put the coins in the slot, right? MTG. Well, actually, you subbed, which is ideally the way I'd like you guys to do the speed brewing, because then theoretically, unless you have a lot of money, that's one speed brew a month, right? When you resub, we'll do another one. I'm gonna have to start streaming regularly to squeeze all those in. Seriously, they're gonna start to pile up. I owe Brian one. I think there's a couple other subs that I haven't done it for either. So maybe we play Aether because it's only our opponent, and maybe we play Dreams. Can only untap one. Let's play Winter Orb. I think Orb and Frozen Aether are probably our best tools. Which is weird because we're only on one of each, but we played with play sets of the build around cards. Leyline Fluster Hand. Oh, doesn't lose to empty. Oh, keep. Well, okay, we could lose this to Cabal Therapy and Ftzz. I mean, you never assume it's gonna stick around. But only 15 cards for Force. Oh no, you're right. Can't win. Forces won't work. It's over. No, stab an opponent. No, my Fluster Storm. Fluster Storm, no. That was an easy decision for the opponent. Sometimes, guys, sometimes it's easy. Just play that. Sometimes it's an easy decision, okay? You know, sometimes you duress your opponent and you're like, yup. That's what my opponent's up to. Stop casting things. Where's my Chalice? It's the thing about Chalice, man. Like that's always been my issue with Chalice decks. Is like draws where you have Chalice is just so strong. Draws where you don't have Chalice, the deck is significantly weaker. Like maybe we should be playing an Enlightened Tutor Chalice deck where it's almost as if you have 8 copies of Chalice. Unless there's a different tutor you guys are thinking of that I can't think of. I could play like Artificer's Intuition. I'm just trying to think of like a low mana tutor. At least pretend I have a blue spell. I mean, who knows? Maybe he has a really good Empty the Warrens hand. And we're safe for now. Like with Leyline, it's plausible that that's what his kill looks like. That it needs to go through the graveyard. He'll need more cards if he's going just from his hand, for sure. They need a little bit more. They have to kind of go through the ad nauseum. Right, usually, I mean, this type of storm, it's going to be, excuse me, it's going to be through ad nauseum. It's going to be through Past in Flames. But I appreciate you guys coming. I know I don't have time for many more games. We do try to do the best of 3 at 6:30. I'm going to try to squeeze in all the games. If we don't, MTG and Bellic, can you come back here and watch it as early as tomorrow? Because I may not be able to play all of them. Oh, we're dead. Opponent was mathing. Opponent was doing math. Oh, well, maybe he's just taking the Kozilek's return. Nope, takes the Antiquities War. Oh, wow, does he just have the... I'm assuming this is tutor. Yep, crack the diamonds for ad nauseum. So he's going for it. Makes white mana, interesting. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter. I'm sorry, Jade. I'm sure they were good. I mean, I hope you guys want a free loan account. I hope that's desirable. I mean, have we all given up on Magic Online? Like, is that just what's going on? I hope you guys are excited about the brew off coming up this weekend. Like, I do hope that's something that you guys want. Oh wait, Wednesday I'm not free in the evening. If we did stream, it'd be early afternoon. I'm not free Wednesday, which is tomorrow. Yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat. Atone. I'm dead, right? Oh no, we're not dead. They don't have a whammy spell still. Oh, tutor, I'm dead. That should do it. So petal diamond, petal diamond, rit. Um, tutor crack diamond tendrils. Getting a loan account would let me play my brew in leagues, not just on X Mage. Well, you have to remember you have to pay for leagues. It's not like that's the thing. MTG and Bellic is it's like the card holder loan account will never pay for your actual events. You have to keep that in mind, chat. Nice for a bigger limit. Yeah. Oh, that's cool, Last God. I don't have money to dump on Moto. This would be the only way you'd use it to have an account. Tendrils. Concession. Alright, so let's try to board in such a way that we do actually have the ability to cast the forces. That would be good. That would be a good move. So, which blues though? I guess it's Mana Breach, because then they can't develop their mana, theoretically. So these come back in. What's our blue count then? If we don't cut a single blue card. 64. So Winter Orb is minimal. Just doesn't do enough quickly enough, probably. I don't really want to cut anything else, is the problem. Maybe we don't bother with the welding jars? Is that crazy talk? Cut like a Moxen? I mean, don't get me wrong, like welding jar is welding jar, but I do want to have access to the forces. And you're right, we didn't have nearly enough blue. Oh, this hand seems sweet. What do we pitch, though? Tezzeret? The fact that this makes their... Oh, okay, well. It's tempting just to slam the Trinisphere. Obviously, there'll be Abrupt Decay. Yes, this also would tap Lion's Eye Diamonds and Lotus Petals, which is kind of neat. Oh yeah, I mean that's always gonna be the the benefit. No, no, no. I want to pay X is one. Hold up. This is like that awkward reality where I can't quite chalice for the number that I want. Because Trinisphere wants me to pay 3, but chalice needs to be paid for 2 for it to be X is 1. No, it is. It is going to work. Done. And then it'll ask for the extra after. Got it. That's just Moto check. The Moto check. So we do get off a chalice on 1, which is what I wanted. Then we can do chalice on 2. Now, we don't have access to the Force or the Fluster. That is the awkward part of Trinisphere. But opponent's deck doesn't do anything as long as that's out there. Now, remember, we do actually need to win the game. Working on that part, chat. Working towards that part. I'm sure my opponent's frustrated. They're like, what is this pile of gook? What is this? What is this? What is this nonsense I'm up against? But hey, it's Legacy, man. For the love of the game. For the love of the game. Hey, what's up, Adamaniac? How's it going? Is 6:40. I still technically have time before that thing tonight, so we're good. You know that thing? I'm just trolling. But I actually do have plans tonight after the stream, so we're going to do that. Technically could cast this ley line. Right, black. Tezzeret. I like it when you can technically cast. But I'm still not able to force. Is he dead yet? If we... 1, 2, 3... We need another art. I should have put the chalice on 0. We just bean him. I mean, I assume we're just going to punch him in the face with all these artifacts. It's kind of the plan. 1, 2, 3. Search. I'm just trying to assemble enough artifacts to kill him next turn. So that's the really cool thing about Tezzeret is you can search for stuff like so. You know? Could get another chalice on 0, could get a mana source, it doesn't really matter. Mox Diamond you wouldn't want to search for here, but I think chalice is reasonable. We're just playing some nonsense, Andrew, but it's sweet. Sweet, sweet nonsense. We might get there. No, Tezzeret the Seeker is really cool. I've always liked this Planeswalker. I mean, don't get me wrong, Agent of Bolus is sweet, but what we got here? Echoing Truth, the ley line. Okay. I'm with you. I'm glad I didn't go for the Helm. We also, I don't think, no, I did have enough mana to activate Helm, but I'm glad I didn't go for Helm. Just because he did have the Echoing Truth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 artifacts. right. Let's try squeezing one more. Oh, Moto's having a conniption. There we go. Is this the guy we just played? Yeah, it is. We'll give him a second. Unless we want to play the same matchup again. But if anything, I think we have way too much for some of the Storm, some of those kind of combo decks in the format. So we'll come back to that. Unless you guys are fine with me playing the same matchup twice, I think that's not all that exciting. Just filling out a form. So, no, the deck's sweet. Just medium. Just while we're waiting for a different opponent. We'll do this actually because maybe I'll make this a little bit bigger. I just want to make sure that may take us some time before we do get an opponent. Now, it's not running great with the Moto and everything else I'm running, I'll admit. I'd have to like turn off the sound even, maybe? That's kind of sad. I did screw around with the game a little bit earlier. So kind of like move my camera other than the mouse. That's my first concern. Controls, drag speed, targeting, gameplay hotkeys. Can I move the camera? Left, right, up, down, shift. Does it really have to be? Why can't it be WASD, yo? Are we even using those? We're not. Up, down, left, right. Oh, attack key gets removed though if I do that. Much better. Alright, tech glyph. Left click. Damages your own units. Oh yeah, they had friendly fire in this game, which I could appreciate. Now, there is one thing that I did hear about the game, which I am seeing now that I'm doing a little bit of play, is that the pathing is weak. Oh, okay, 0. Hang on. We got a window here. On. All right, let's queue. The thing about like pathing does matter to me when it comes to. All right, we're in the queue. When it comes to these kinds of games, I did get rated. Holy Jim Davis, Batman. That's crazy. Jim, we're playing a little bit of Legacy. I missed it. I'm sorry. Usually there's like a notification that's like. So the deck we're playing now. No, thanks, guys. Sorry, I was playing a little game while we waited for an opponent. So we're playing. This is a speed brew. Jim and Jim's folks. Kind of like a really wonderfully bad Tezzerator for Legacy. It's got a red splash for like either grids and stuff. But we had 30 minutes to build this. The build around cards were Overburden and Mana Breach, which kind of do similar things. This is whenever a player puts a non-token creature on the battlefield, they return a land they control. Mana Breach, whenever a player casts a spell, they return a land. But Jim, you were probably expecting that I was playing Modern. I guess we can show off the Modern deck I played earlier today. I had a lot of fun playing. We 4-1'd with it the first time I played it. It's not my own build. It's something that we stumbled upon. Ooh, we have an opponent though. It's still going to be, if you do exclamation mark deck, it's the current deck. Thank you so much for the host, though. I don't want to belittle that at all. Thank you, Jim. Thanks, guys, for tuning in for a little bit. Unfortunately, I am heading out in like 30 minutes, but at least you get to see this janky legacy deck in action. Would I keep this? Hopefully they're a fair creature deck, I guess. Good luck, have fun. Please don't be Storm round 2. Don't be Storm. Just don't be Storm. But yeah, the bug reclamation teachings was very cool. If you've never had the chance to play it, it's a lot of fun. We'll lead on Mountain because this is Legacy, but it was excellent. I really enjoyed playing it. We didn't prize the second time that we played it. I think we just were shy, just shy. Oh well, Tundra could be miracles. In which case, the Overburden does nothing. It's very weak. We'll pitch them to Force. I don't know. Was he gonna play Mentor, Snapcaster Mage? Hiya. Oh, there you go. We found a Force, and we can pitch it to the Force. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like it's got a bunch of cryptics. It just felt really good to play. I think this is gonna actually hurt us more than it does him. I'm hoping that he just counters it. I mean, Miracles does care about Winter Orb. Like if I had Mox Diamond out, this would be a completely different dynamic. Like we do have Mox in. So. Oh, Big Boz with the Twitch Prime sub. Thanks so much. Welcome to HQ. Welcome back to the team, Big Boz. Thank you for that. That has earned you 1 speed brew. If you haven't been with us, Big Boz, since we started doing the speed brewing, which is what this deck is. Those are some of the basic. I guess that's more or less the pricing, but essentially you submit some build around cards, and then myself and the chat get to work 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or an hour, depending on which tier. And then from there, wow, he's fighting over this? Back to basics. Maybe we fight back. But thank you so much for the support, guys. I really appreciate that. And when you do resub, I like to do a speed brew as well. That's the plan at the moment. We'll see if we can maintain it with my my new full-time job. But that is the initial goal. Oh yeah? Ancient Tomb. Sure. Winter Orb you used to see and sometimes still even see in Delver sideboards, just because they operate very well on can operate very well on 1 mana, function on 1 mana. They don't ramp up like a lot of some of the more mid-rangey, your Grixis's and your not that Grixis cares about a Winter Orb call against command deck, but I think you'd slam Antiquities War here. Show me counterspell, right? Guess we could lead off with Trinisphere. And then in a couple turns we could try the Antiquities War. He just lets it resolve. Yeah, please do, Big Boss. So it's a little bit different. It's a lot more... he might just have a Jace, though. It's a lot more straightforward. And also... But it was a speed brew. Like, in retrospect, I did mean to... And we didn't talk about it in time. I did mean to add some number of... I'll think of it. Not Pithing Needle, because we're a Chalice deck. Sorcerer's Spyglass. I did mean to add some Sorcerer's Spyglass. Although if we draw a land, we get to... Yeah. Don't have Force of Will, my opponent. Or he can't anyway. It's Trinisphere. He could have a Force of Will. Can't cast it. Due to Trinisphere. Mox Diamond. That's unfortunate. Don't have a land to put it into play. Because we want to bean the Jace, right? No, Winter Orb is sweet. I mean, this is you're seeing some really powerful legacy going on here. I mean, opponent's got a Jace, absolutely. Like we care, we definitely care. But let's untap the Ancient Tomb. Look at the top five. We find Chalice. Can't cast Chalice, but it's still the right card to take. So when we animate, sorry, when maybe I should have untapped Seed of the Synod actually. In retrospect, I can't play Chalice here due to the Trinisphere, but are we gonna have enough threats for the Jace? Is it correct for me to play the Chalice on one? Like if he wants to have swords, he'll have a swords, and there's nothing I can do about it. The creatures will animate before we could put the Chalice into play. Is it better for me to just have the we want the third attacker. We're gonna untap a Seed of the Synod regardless. We want the third attacker. We want to bean the Jace, get that off the table. Really wish that we had some artifact mana. Non land. I mean, like Winter Orb is at its best when we have our Moxins and our diamonds. I mean, our opals and diamonds. We didn't really see them. I mean, I can't say that, right, chat, because we did see. Oh, another Chalice. Whew. So, I mean, I would assume there's a Swords to Plowshares in their hand. So, unfortunately, if we do actually want the Jace to leave the table, we would have to throw all three at the Jace. He's going to take out the Winter Orb for sure. No doubt about it. It's just the clear play. There's no other target for that Swords. I think he maybe only brainstormed once, and then I think he. Oh, does he not have a Swords to Plowshares? Oh, that changes things. Or maybe he is still just end-stepping the Swords because he knew the Jace died anyway. Yeah. Goes after the Trinisphere. Science rules. Thank you for hitting that button. Goes after Trinisphere, not the Winter Orb. Thank you so much for that follow, Smokey Doll. I appreciate you. Or was that the one? But seriously, that's no small feat, Jim. And I'll definitely pass on. We weren't able to cast the Chalice due to Trinisphere is still in play. Ancient Tomb, of course. So yeah, if he's going after the Trinisphere, it's definitely correct for him to wait. It's just that awkward moment where now the opponent could really get back into the swing of things because since we didn't draw a lot of our artifact mana. Ooh, True Name. Okay. That's a slow clock, though. Would I want to put Tezzeret in? Also, I didn't mean to play my land. Oh, shoot. We had the Mox Diamond. No, chat. What have I done? What have I done? Ugh. I didn't mean to play the Mox Diamond. That changes so much of this game now, theoretically. Like if I do put Tezzeret into play here, I can't really protect him for long. Like what are we looking for? If we go get bridge, I can't get beneath the bridge. I mean, I guess I could technically get beneath the bridge at the expense of throwing away some of these cards. So maybe it actually is still correct. Well, we see if this resolves first. It might get forced. Yeah. Okay. Unfortunate. I know. I didn't mean to play the Ancient Tomb. That was a reflex. We made us lose here now. I'm sorry, chat. We could have maybe won this. Oof. Sweet dreams. Sweet dreams. Sweet dreams are made of these, chat. Sweet dreams. But like this is a matchup where we don't want to see this at all, right? We managed to pitch the first one to the Force of Will. Granted, there are build-around cards, like so we kind of have to make do with some bad cards. Like that happens when we do speed brews. I shouldn't say bad, just specific cards. But I like me a Tezzerator anytime we have time to do that. I think we are just gonna get beat down. Like imagine if I had access to this Mox Diamond here, we'd have progressively so very much more mana than the opponent. Let's go into blue Chalice. But like none of these would have stopped the true name anyway. Like we needed that Tezzeret to resolve. He had the force for the Tez. We needed to be able to go get bridge. I know, but like how am I even gonna sideboard for this matchup? Like we have I don't know. Aether Grid? Alright, Flusterstorm. I just don't even know how we would sideboard for this. Now, if opponent does go, or okay, let's say we get really lucky when we find bridge, right, or Tezzeret. Is that really my only out to this true name? And can I actually get our hand low enough? The answer is no. So I need to find something to counter. This whole time I thought he was Miracles. Yeah, he's just Stoneblade. I mean, the true name should be indicative of that. I had a suspicion because usually he'll be on Mentor. This should have been the giveaway for my brain to think. I thought he was just on like a back to basics Miracles. You played that quite a bit, right, Jim? I know Jim was definitely advocating for a back to basics build of Miracles. So no, he's just Stoneblade. So even if I found bridge, he can put the GT on the Mystic and we're just toast. So he's Stoneblade. Okay, that definitely changes things. We theoretically have a better matchup against Stoneblade, in theory. That's just too bad. Okay. Alright. See if you guys can help me sideboard. Was I able to see it? I trust that you did. Is that something that's not integrated with my new stream outfit? No, I see you. Amish Robotics. Alright, donated 15 emergency powers in standard. Submit build around cards. Okay, so you also put that. So I have to brew around emergency powers for standard. Emergency powers. Oh my sweet lord, this is so much mana. Bant. I'm assuming you want me to pull off the addendum on this, obviously. I mean, I would assume this would have to be a Reclamation deck, right? I'm assuming it would be Bant. I'm just all about the Reclamation spell at the moment, but that's where my mind goes when I look at this spell initially. We do have a few other players or people. I don't want to say they're in front of you because they're not present tonight, but I do have a meeting in less than an hour. So we were going to just play this game, and then I was going to host to a different player, but you're definitely on the list. Emergency powers. Also, you're not supposed to tell me what the card is until you do it. I shouldn't have looked. I'll erase that from my memory. We try to brew candid. It's okay. Your donation is still very much appreciated. I really appreciate that actually because we haven't had anybody. All of the speed brews we've had so far have been through through subbing, so we haven't had a tier 3. We haven't had a tier 3 competitive, any format of your choice. So I'm assuming it's a standard competitive is what you wanted. No, you don't apologize, Robotics. I don't play all that much standard, so I'll definitely have to wrap my mind. Maybe it's good if we don't do it tonight because I would want to look at the metagame. I wouldn't want to just jump into brewing on that and like not know anything. I think it's fine for me to look at the rest. I wouldn't look at what we're building. I would maybe look at where we need to take it. I think I want that. What's really bad? The Winter Orb proved to be bad. Maybe we want the ones that aren't symmetric. But I mean, like against decks that make a lot of land drops, like we ideally were planning to, but we didn't. I mean, theoretically, the burden should work. Maybe we don't want Flusters. Pyroclasm kills Stoneforge, but so would Gearper. I think we'll run it like so. Thanks for that follow. Science rules. No, you're definitely in the list. Like that's verbatim. That's not an issue. That's not the question that I'm asking is, were you hoping that I could do it tonight? Because the answer is no. So I hope you're okay with being a little patient. 10 months, Goblin Guy. Evan with the... Oh, hang on. That was 8 days ago. I'm in the wrong spot. Okay, so Sir Phil 22, thank you so much for the follow. I think I didn't miss you, Smoky Doll, but I could be wrong about that. And of course, just now, Richard MTG, thank you so much for hitting the button. Magic Rules, welcome to the stream. We'll keep it. And so, we've built a deck that, yes, it had a really good Storm matchup. How are we going to be doing against the fair decks? Can we stick this Chalice? Do we need to back it up with this Force of Will? I guess not. Just need to make sure I can tune in. Yeah, so my streams are Eastern time zones. I've been trying to get a more regular stream. It's been a little sporadic just due to my new job. But that being said, think things are definitely looking up for stability's sake. I've been able to be consistent this week. You can ask some of the other viewers in the channel that have been with us this week. We've been quite a bit more consistent this week. Some of that has to do with the weather. I went home from work early today, and it just made sense to squeeze in a stream before my meeting tonight. So, yeah, it just made sense. Volcanic. Can it be? All right. So I think you slam Aether? Would you just slam Antiquities? Let's force through the Antiquities. Potentially. Force pitch Brainstorm, force pitch Aether. Is that what you want your build around card to be, Big Boss? Sun Cleanser? Ooh, Disenchant. Chalice down. Find us another Chalice, please? 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 Well, it did. You know what we might want to do just for now, just temporarily? Why don't we put some of these... I mean, I can look at recent subs and I can look at... recent subs and I can look at recent donations as a jumping off point for knowing who's in the speed brew. So the tier 3 that you sign up for it's an hour-long brewing session, which is good because I don't normally brew standard decks, so I'll need the extra time, I think, to brew a half-decent deck. And the reason I wanted extra time on the speed brew robot has to do with the fact that we're going to be putting it into a more competitive setting than the 30-minute speed brews. The 30-minute speed brews, they go here. This is the 1v1 queues. Granted, there's still, points on the line. There's still tickets on the line. Oh, nice. We found some more freebies we can just put in. That's definitely where you want to be. Oh, I should have put the welding jar into play first. What am I doing? That was really loose. I don't want to know my last card is just an Ancient Tomb. You know what's sad is we were one artifact short of just beaning him for lethal with this Antiquities War. So I think we actually are going to lose this. We just didn't have quite enough artifacts to... I mean, barring another removal spell, we're only going to hit him for 16. So he's at a virtual 2 thanks to having drawn so many fetches, right? But... the deck intel queue. There you go. I might just put the names of people that have reserved a speed brew into that spreadsheet, just for the sake of so you guys can see it too. I mean, I have access to the resources. I can see who's signed up, but Oh yeah, definitely disenchant the Antiquities War. Are you kidding me? It's an easy decision. How did our speed brew hold up? Right? How did it hold up? And technically, even if we lose this, we do still owe one more game. But I that's 708. Maybe I can squeeze it in. It's greedy. It's greedy if I do that. It might be late. Might be late for it. It doesn't start till 8. If we lose very quickly, I could maybe squeeze in one more game with our speed brew Tezzerator thing. No, they're 5/5s. Oh, it would have been lethal. Okay. Ooh, Teferi. I mean, should I give up? Should I be giving up? I know we can welding jar the Antiquities War. It's not how that works. We're gonna die to the Snapcaster Mage. We're gonna die to drawing lands. Come on, deck. Come on, deck. What do I need? Tezzeret? I need a Tezzeret to resolve through his hardcast Force of Will. Come on, Tezzeret. Teferi number 2. Jace. Okay. This is spicy that he's playing Teferi. I love that. That's sweet. Untap your mana so you could activate a Stoneforge Mystic. I don't know. Untap your mana so you could cast Counterspell, right? Brainstorm. Where were you earlier? But we have Chalice in play. we need him to kill the Chalice so we can kill his Jace. I knew this would be so awkward, but we couldn't have come up with a different. Surely we could have come up with a different sideboard card for this red blue deck, right? Surely we could have gotten more creative. And never give up, never surrender. We'll be dead very soon. Oh, we can't even counter that. Bridge off the top. Ensnaring bridge. Come on. Nope. Well, they have to know why we're on this nonsense, right? Surely we cast this just so they know. Like, now you know, opponent. Now you know. Shouldn't be cracking. Shouldn't I crack the skull anytime? Oh, yeah. I should, because of the Jace. You're right. It's too late now. It's too late, Melfina. It's too late, Jade. It's too late. All right. All right, we'll play one more. We'll squeeze it in. So we can't beat anything that's not Storm. Good to know. But yeah, this will be interesting. I mean, like I said, like in the future, you didn't know. It's fine. I laid out more in-depth rules on the Discord. It's not rules. It's a framework. I don't want you to think it's like rules. That's not. Rules are not. I mean, yes, rules are useful, but I don't want it. I don't want it to have too much structure. The problem was our opponent's name Scrum. Do you guys remember? Let me pull up the Discord so we can chat about it briefly. Because that I don't want that to come up a lot more. It will inevitably happen. I'm just trying to get to the Discord. Let me close that down. Inevitably, that's going to happen some more. I don't think this was our opponent. I view his profile. I don't know if that's necessarily a matchup we want to go up against again. The back to basics could be kind of backbreaking for our nearly entirely non-basics deck. Let me pull up the Discord rules because it kind of lays it out a little bit better than what I have in the chat, and I should really transfer over what's written in the Discord into the chat so you guys have a better idea of what I. This is a relatively new thing for my channel. Not that I'm trying to make excuses. That's just a fact. We recently came up with this maybe a couple weeks ago. It was something I've been thinking about for some time. Here we go. So this is kind of the framework. So maybe what I'll do, and copy that. I'll put it into the command, perhaps. Might be the best way to do it. I appreciate all the help you guys have been giving me with the speed brewing. Alright, so there's a screenshot to it. It's just a screenshot website. It's not a sketch link. See? Oh, wrong thing. There we go. We were playing various Tamir Wilderness Reclamation decks earlier. But anyway, so this is This is kind of the blurb about the speed brewing from the Discord. Come on. Come on. You can do it. It can't. It's Windows Explorer. I don't know why when I click on links in the stream chat that it takes me not to Chrome, which makes me sad. I may have just not reset the defaults. Let's see. So, let me just pull the data for the. All right, so it's empty. All right, let's jump in the queue. I may have to drop if the game's going long, which it will, because we're playing a really dirtily prison deck. Because it is 7:14. So we'll queue for that. But let me see if I can't fix it, because I don't want that mistake. It's not a mistake. I don't want it to be misinterpreted easily again, if that makes sense. So the speed brew command looks like this. Let me change that command a little bit. We found an opponent. Yes. All right. Add command. I like how that command looks, because it looks pretty straightforward. More specifics can be found here. Screenshot link. Not sketchy. I'm most interested in the brewing portion. I got my money's worth. No, you're fine, Embellic. I mean, like, the thing is consistency will be important. And look, this hand has both your build rounds, except I just kept the non-blue land. And no, chat. No, it's fine, man. It's just some points, dude. It's fine. I'm more worried about potentially not giving myself enough time to get into meeting mode. It's fine. When we do a speed brew, tier 1, it's best of 3 games. We won game 1. We're playing it out. Actually, I think I restructured it so that it's more like we play 3 games regardless of the record, and if we win all 3, I'll keep going if a deck's running hot or something like that. I think was actually more so the lands. Did we ever beat lands? I don't think we ever beat lands. No. Kidding. There exists a draw in our deck that would beat lands. It is not this draw. But Ensnaring Bridge is strong. So I don't necessarily want to give up yet. And there's one blue source, right? You just got to believe, chat. Oh, it says the command didn't go through. Hang on. I didn't name it, that's why. Add command. Speed brew. There we go. So I'll just give you guys a better depiction of what we mean by a speed brew. How it's different. It's not really, you're not submitting a list. We've done that in the past. That's what that spreadsheet I showed in the chat was a moment ago. Part of the reason opponent has assembled the combo Life from the Lone Wasteland. But just part of the reason they don't care about either of these effects. That's not good. We found a deck where, just like Storm, these have the mode of can be pitched for force of will. Oh boy. We've done that in the past. The problem has to do more so with my work than it has to do anything that I want to do for the stream. It has to do more with that. All right. Magic at its finest. I mean, we could maybe eventually dig ourselves out of the hole. I don't have time. We might as well play another deck. since we did Q. All right, Leyline Helm is a way we could steal the game. We can do it, chat. We can do it. I'm not all gloom and doom. I hope you don't think that. I'm not all gloom and doom. God, this sideboard is a nightmare. I mean, Flusterstorm still works with Chalice, but these other pieces are kind of questionable. These don't work, but we'll have to keep in some of it so that we can actually cast blue. They don't care about Winter Orb. They're a fellow Mox deck. So, like, Orb of Dreams works, technically. But I still think it's weak. I think the Trinisphere is weak, too. I think Ensnaring Bridge kind of has to stay. Meryl Age is a thing. What's our blue count? It's going to be 17. It's low. Let's play the Flusterstorm. I mean, Hydroblast hits Gamble. They're going to have Tireless Trackers post board. Tracker is pretty easy to grow out of range of both of those sweepers, though. Yeah, and Bellic, I hope you enjoyed your speed brew. I did it for you. I did it. We did. Sand seems fine. Like, we get to lead on a basic. We have Leyline. They are a relatively graveyard-based deck. Obviously, lands wouldn't exist if it only functioned off the mana base. I mean, the graveyard. But Sand has a plan. Let's put Chalice into play. That's what that plan is. Maybe we fight over the... I mean, there's not much to fight over in this matchup either. Like, when you think about what to fight over, you can fight over Exploration. Port. No. No Sylvan Library for you, good sir. Nope. We just need to find a Tezzeret. We find Tezzeret or Helm, we could win. We could win. But yeah, really appreciate the host. I'm sorry that I have no idea. I mean, I'm assuming Jim was probably on Modern or something. We did play Modern earlier. I mean, I'm not gonna pander. I just like, so when the host went through, like, sure, I could have switched to Modern. Like, sure, I could, but like, we had a gentleman pay us to do the speed brew. You know, I think me switching over and, you know, playing this deck instead of a speed brew that we're in the middle of would be pandering, and I'm sure Jim wouldn't host me for that. You know, like, I hope you guys know the channel stands for more than that. We've been here streaming Magic the Gathering online for some time now, and I don't think that would reflect the way that, you know, we've built this channel. I very much appreciate the host, though, and it was tempting, right? I'm like, oh man, Jim's probably playing Standard, or maybe he's playing Modern, but at the same time, it's like, you should really keep doing what you're doing. You know, when you get a host, I'm not trying to give you guys advice or anything. I don't know if any of you guys are fellow streamers. I'm sure there's one in the chat, but to me, that kind of comes off as I think I'm using the right word for that, right? Pandering. Ooh. So he's gonna double port us for some time. Will we get to put the Aether Grid into play? The answer is maybe, but we need to draw some more lands first. Does that make sense, chat? I hope I'm not preaching to the choir or anything. But just for the record, I do very much appreciate the host from Jim. It is definitely appreciated. Jim's been grinding at it for some time. I know I've seen him doing quite a few streams lately, which is exciting. Anybody from Jim's stream care to tell me what he was up to? I'm assuming it was Crows and Grip. Can't even Welding Jar. Oof. I'm assuming he was playing Standard or Modern. I've definitely fallen in love with this card. I could see us trying to brew with it even in Legacy. This was us playing it in Modern, kind of like a teachings build. I think this was when we went 2-3 with it. We had a list that went. We did go 4-1. We did go 4-1 with the deck, which was exciting. But anyway, I apologize, guys. I'm sorry I'm a little low energy today. So I have an interesting story to share with you guys while we maybe lose to this Lance player. So um, my apartment complex. This is kind of like the end story of what I was telling you guys last night. We kind of got the whole scoop. So they did have a malfunction in the laundry room, and oh, now I can't cast it though. They they had to have the maintenance people come, and there was gas, there was water. I don't understand what happened necessarily. They didn't explain like how that happened. Oh, that's what I was worried about. That's what I was worried about. Got another roof port. Oh, but yep. Hey, we're just gonna lose to the ports in the tracker. Land! Land! Okay. Okay. Alright. So. Is there ever going to be a moment where we get to kill the tracker with the grid? Or should I just get the bridge into play? He's got triple port. This is like our moment to actually cast something. I mean, we have enough artifacts to ping, but I should just play bridge. That sucks, but I think I'm supposed to play bridge. This matchup seems like the pits, right? I mean, like Crows and Grip, their game one plan doesn't care at all about the build around cards we were tasked to brew around. I think though, given what we were given, right? Bellic had some cool cards he wanted us to build around, right? We were building around the our build around cards were Overburden and or the other. I think we did a decent job. Some kind of like stasis Tezzerator was kind of where we were going. Then we actually ended up getting out of stasis. I think we did a good job, despite maybe. I mean, that's going to happen with speed brews. That's not my concern. The concern is I wanted some more interesting content to be doing with you guys. My worry is not whether or not the deck is necessarily competitive. That's kind of more so reserved, I guess, for the tier 2 and the tier 3 speed brews, because that's where we're doing leagues and we have more time to actually build the deck, like 45 minutes, an hour. And maybe we will change that to just the best of 3. I wouldn't want to do single elimination. That'd be lame. I think best of 3 is most likely the best way to do it. But yeah, so to finish that story, I couldn't sleep, and so I ended up doing a stream last night, which was a lot of fun. We actually had a lot of our old viewers in there because I used to be more so of a night streamer. Now I could have welding jarred the Seed of the Synod, and I really should have. I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't. I should have welding jarred the Seed of the Synod. The mana was much too important. Like we'd be working with 2 mana right now. We could have put the Chalice into play. He's gonna hit us with the Tireless Tracker here. Yeah, if I'd welding jarred the Seed of the Synod. I mean, this is definitely we're slowly but surely dying kind of moment. Tireless Tracker is very good in lands. It's very good in lands. Between exploration, they just have a lot of mana that they can work with regardless. It's a beautiful card for their deck, even if it's only sideboard. It's a wonderful access for their deck. Card doesn't even need to attack to be fantastic. Just drawing lots of cards. Yeah, I don't want to be late for my meeting. Why don't we call it quits here? Just want to see my next card. We're good. We're good, opponent. We're good. We did the things. We played our jank. All right. So I will go ahead and host another stream because Jim very generously hosted me. Unfortunately, I was not on Modern. I'm sure he was even thinking, "Oh man, BrewSpy's playing Modern." I wasn't. I was doing a Legacy Speed Brew, but I very much appreciate it regardless. And we had we have a new applicant for the Speed Brew, which is great. Let me find us another channel. Don't go away. Just like, I got my start on Twitch through generous hosts like the host from Jim or Louis Scott Vargas, Jeff Hoagland. Um, I want to do my part, and I like to host streamers that have some cool stuff going on. For example, Four Color Were Prison. That seems sweet. That seems really sweet. I think I may host there. Yeah, thank you, Jade. I really appreciate that. I'm sorry that I'm like low energy. That's really what has to do with it, right? Even though we had a snow day today and I got to come home a couple hours early from work. Oh no, Evan's online. Easy, easy host, right? Oh, is he online or no? He's not live. Never mind. He's one of my teammates for Modern Day Heroes, is why I would do that. I rarely show favor when it comes to hosts, but if it comes down to it, one of my teammates, a fellow card hoarder streamer, or Evan or Douglas, I'll definitely host them first. Let's go ahead and host this guy playing the Four Color War Prison. That seems sweet. This seems right up my alley. But yeah, thank you guys for sticking around. Those of you that did stick around from Jim's stream, I appreciate you. I can't imagine it was many just because I'm sure he wasn't playing Legacy, but that's not true. Jim's played Legacy in the past. It's very possible he went from Legacy to Legacy. But this looks like sweet. Oh man, it's the mirror match though. Okay, thank goodness. All right, let me give this guy a host. Thanks for sticking around, guys. I'll see you on the next Brews Spy. Oh, wrong channel. Brews Spy the Magic Guy. Appreciate you guys, as always. I'll see you.